Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going on the mountain on this Monday, April 22nd, third and final for mental health in parallel for Earth Day. Walking, marching to the mountain, already put in more than, let's see how many minutes. I'm in Westmount now. We're gonna go drill it as we do. Overtime, every time from the lair of the dragon already did. Marching until here it is 6:03, so we already marched 66 minutes, 65 actually. Correction. I got that sunbeam in my eyes. 65 minutes on the march as we're gonna go rock and roll to the mountain. Yours truly encouraging all to work out, train, exercise, and I'm gonna take a picture of these beautiful blue flowers. They're getting bluer every time. I gotta sing it for mental health. Mental health starts with some exercise, with working out, training, and exercising, working out, training, and exercising, and yours truly on the exercising. Super important to work out, to train, and to exercise. Working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and shall continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice, as I'm grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. Got that food and got that coffee, so I'm grateful, joyous. Already feel much better when I work out, train, exercise here from hometown. Headquarters, Montreal. Montreal, Quebec, Canada, North America. This North American, Canadian, Quebecer. For mental health, third in. Finishing today for mental health. Earth Day in parallel. Please recycle. We gotta do as individuals. We gotta do our duty. And you gotta be patient for that French, because we liable prevents. And it is the great linguistic North American compromise which we made to have continuing peace. And of course, do advise and encourage people to turn your heads left or right when you cross the streets. And I gotta say my gratitude once again. Grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee. And this independent artist, athlete, philosopher, geopolitical analyst, and theorist, and poet, world's greatest dancing millennial rainbow dragon poet, and asked you with retrograde amnesia. Grateful, thankful once again. Rent is paid my rent for the month of April. Paid my electricity bill, got food and coffee. And I'm a YouTuber in parallel to being a geopolitical analyst and theorist, philosopher, artist, athlete on the march. More than 77 pounds down, starting my own fitness journey. Was depressed and suicidal 6 months ago. I conquered being depressed and suicidal. I conquered being depressed and suicidal. I conquered being depressed and suicidal when I crossed Canada coast to coast. 2017 in August and September, went first Vancouver, British Columbia, out west, and that event, and then went out east in Halifax, and that event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. So I encourage and I am calling for the finance, public-private partnership, North American intra, travel, and tourism, because I'm a North American. And when I traversed Canada that 2017, in of course summer, August, went to Vancouver, BC, and then came back, went by train 25 hours and 44 minutes, 25 hours and 44 minutes, 25 hours and 44 minutes, out at Halifax, Nova Scotia. So that event made me come out of depression, because I said to myself, so many things to see, to do, write rock and roll songs, visit places I've never been, and chat with my fellow Canadian brothers and sisters and North American brothers and sisters, because this Quebecer Canadian was born twice in previous incarnations, in past lives, down there, down south, post 1776. Was born in the USA, both times served in the United States Army. You heard that correct. And if I know somebody who deserves to live here on Westmount, that house or that house or that house, it is my anonymous sister friend. I'm a Swifty. But got LOV for Swift, for Oprah, for Beyonce. But my anonymous sister friend deserves to be 7 times richer than Oprah, Beyonce, and Taylor Swift. If I make a million, gonna give her half 50% of a million, of a trillion, of a billion. And marching to the mountain, laying the foundations for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom first and foremost, with 718 trillions of kisses. Kisses I got credited from the forgotten goddess. I am stressed financially, I gotta admit. I am stressed financially, so I gotta admit, my financial stress aside, We gotta get it out. We gotta see it down south. We gotta see that island. We gotta see the island. We gotta get it all the way to the mountain, because we are on an island here. Island of Montreal Metropolis. 2.5 million people on the island. 2.5 million people on the island. Like a small country surrounded by a big river. Surrounded by a big river. 3 times in previous incarnations. Post 1635 and a few times before. Was born right on the island, but was born on the island even before 1492 as well. But after 1635, after Jean Mance came, I was born 3 times right on this island. And even before that. Anyways, incarnations, being a mystic, universal, spiritual teaching student. It is April 22nd. Approaching that full moon Scorpio. I gotta, of course, celebrate, as I do celebrate me surviving COVID back in 2020. In February, March, I got COVID of 2020. Already more than 4 years. Wow. More than 4 years. I can't believe sometimes. More than 4 years already in 2020. Now it's 2024 already. Just gotta turn my head left or right before I cross the street here, because you never know, the brakes can malfunction. The citizen driver might press the accelerator instead of the brakes, so we always gotta get that security with liberty, hand in hand, in equilibrium, in balance and in harmony, just like the private. Gotta be balanced in harmony, equilibrium with the public. Everything that I do is fundamentally a call for a PPP, a public-private partnership, across the collective North American civilizational complex. Anyways, for me, COVID was like death, pestilence, and disease. Death, pestilence, and disease. Death, pestilence, and disease was COVID for me. You know, so when I had COVID, it was very sickle and diseased. And I said I died during COVID, and it's nothing that I want to go back to. Besides, I got retrograde amnesia, so I just remember moving to a better place. Moving a moldy place, lots of mold. Moved, was depressed and suicidal, started feeling better when I crossed Canada coast to coast. So here I am today, man. My family, Canadians, Quebecers, you know, my family, sometimes we're dysfunctional, and I gotta salute the firefighters, LOV. LOV to the firefighters, LOV to the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, carpenters, the truckers on the road, warehouse workers, all those in trains, in the public transit, those who pick up the garbage, the compost. In my service, I got today garbage and recycling. Just gotta be careful here when I cross the street, and that house red will be perfect, because that's my favorite color. That's what I said. Rock and roll 24/7 for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, ambulance drivers, and all those doing a little bit of fast food now, you know, some of that chicken, some of that pizza, some of that vegan, all that food. Food security starts with our farmers. I gotta salute the farmers, you know. They got the know-how in the ground. They're putting it in deep and putting in that work. So we gotta say, you know, saluting, we love our farmers, and love is also action, you know, because it's not all about the money. I can say today I am financially stressed, you know. I am financially stressed today, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, got that food, got that coffee, got that tea, got that coffee. So, you know, I'm that grateful for that. So, and as much as I'm educated as an Aspie, you know, Asperger's makes me that I'm predisposed to having intense obsessions, and my intense obsessions, you know, are geopolitics 24/7, the study and analysis of geopolitics, and of course sports. Dancing is my favorite sport, but I love hockey, basketball, boxing, and I want to box Donald Trump, and I'm willing to get in the rink with Tyson Fury, believe it or not, get my anonymous sister a house, pay my $10,500 debt, and finance that DRT debt refusion too, in the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. So here we are on the road with the laptop. Sometimes you gotta work with what you're given, but nonetheless, yeah, I'm doing this video. It's not the best quality, but sometimes you gotta work with what you're given. You know, you gotta work and flex with whatever you're given. So the body being a temple for pleasure and purpose, sometimes we gotta get with that. As much as we got supercomputers, some of the basics, just like fitness, is the same. And I see that Hawk, H-A-W-K. That's a good omen, because we're in Hawk Island. But anyways, I said, as an Asperger's, you know, and there's no medication for Asperger's. It's just realizing that I got symptoms. I have a tendency to stare too much, to be overly verbose, and to approach people in conversation too closely. So I gotta watch for the symptoms. I gotta be careful for the symptoms, you know. So that's part of it. You know, so, and yes, it makes me predisposed to certain narrow topics like interests. Some Aspies have chemistry as interest, obsessive interest. Some Aspies have geology, science, and culture and art, and whatever the case may be, and whatever all that good stuff is. But for me, it's geopolitics, the study of geopolitics 24/7, and of course, geopolitical studies. And dancing is my favorite sport. Sports, fitness 24/7, geopolitics 24/7, with that rock and roll gratitude, and of course, it's the study of civilization. So those are my main obsessions, you know. As an Aspie, you know, we gotta keep in check my symptoms, and I gotta be aware when I discuss with others, and I usually let them know as soon as possible that don't mind my gestures, and if I have repetitive, ritual-like gestures with the hands or with the feet or the bodily movements which seem ritualistic, is because of Asperger's makes me predisposed, you know, as a neurodivergent and neurodiverse being, Quebecer, Canadian, North American, who wills to be a world citizen for world peace, but pretty much the island is all I know, you know. And as much as I desire world peace, I gotta say that I've studied and geopolitics for the past years, for as long as I can remember, because I black out after moving, and you know, that's about a blackout with that retrograde amnesia. So it is what it is, you know. So we gotta get that on the drill, and we gotta get that on the spiel, and we gotta get that on the deal as we go now across the street. Safely turn my head left and right, you know. So let's go Taylor Swift, Beyonce. Give a call to Group Kaufman 514-379-1333. 514-379-1333. 514-379-1333 for yours truly. We could share, me and my anonymous sister, we could share half of this mansion here. Like this, I can have open doors, you know. That other place I can't have now open doors, and fortunately too small, my underground lair. But it's better than where I used to live. It's better. I'm not complaining. It's better than where I used to live. So I'm grateful. It's better than where I used to live. It was even smaller, and there was even more mold round about. Not only in my room, but when I got out of my room, in the garage, which was mine next door, and it was a very moldy place. So probably maybe amnesia due to that, but retrograde amnesia. But I remember moving, you know, and being depressed, so I started working out, training and exercising, and feeling fit ever since, and getting on that drill, and you know, I gotta, as the people's artist and athlete, AAA, Aspie with amnesia, parallel to artist and athlete, I always gotta do marches for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, thinking about the truckers now, all those in the public service, picking up the garbage, the firefighters of North America, the butchers, train conductors, public transit in the buses. You know, my brothers and sisters, civilization is a privilege. Civilization is a privilege. All the electricity, the highways, the roads, the infrastructure. Thank you, Hydro-Quebec, me with the laptop here, doing it, the electricity, with this clean, zero pollution, zero emission energy. I'm utilizing, thanks to Hydro-Quebec, workers of the past of Hydro-Quebec, who built so many dams. Let's build some more. And of course, they got it for the X, for the Y, for the Z. And of course, being happy, joyous, content when I work out. I was a bit moody earlier, but I did my laundry, started feeling better. But moody, I check my emails and I say, I got some opportunities, did a volunteering here and there last week, and open for more volunteering as I love to volunteer. But and I said, I sent some emails for business and gotta get that business on the X, and financially struggling, but you know, said my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, food got, tea got, and I'm open for business, you know, open for business. I am a YouTuber, you know, and being a YouTuber. I got a view the other day, so I noticed one got 93 views. That's the top, I think. Top of my videos got 93. It was I was taking a bath or whatever. You can finance videos, blah blah blah. You know, finance, and offer business for rock and roll. Cause I rock and roll for the farmers, for the butchers, for the nurses, for the doctors. We're gonna discuss mental health. Mental health today. Go mental health. Third video, third march. I did 2 last week. We're gonna begin and end with the third one today. But I cannot stress enough for mental health the importance of regular physical exercise. See, now I'm on the march. I'm marching, and the push-up squats, but I already sweated a bit, you know, so I already feel much better. Turn your heads left to right, left and right, left and right. And you know my key is security and liberty gotta go together. So, you know, turn your heads left and right when you cross the streets, because you never know. What if the brakes malfunction? Possible. What if the citizen driver, instead of the brakes, presses the accelerator? We got double trouble. You cross the streets, we got double trouble. See the bus driver here. How his day is, you know. Somebody got to sing for him as well. Him, her, I don't know, I assume, maybe androgynous, gay, pansexual like me, I don't know. Rainbow dragon like myself or not. He's a citizen. Sometimes we got to get that 50-50. Left, right, and center, and I'm a centrist, you know, but I appreciate the public and the private. And now as I go to the mountain for mental health, you know, maybe he's also suffering with something, he's also dealing with something. Maybe he also experienced depression, being suicidal. I don't know, I know I have, and nothing that I want to go back to today, you know. Show love or move along. Show LOV or move along. Show LOV or move along as we go to the mountain and pledge your allegiance, legions, thou art family. Pledge your allegiance, legions, thou art family. Pledge your allegiance, legions, thou art family. Turn my head left to right still, even if it's my turn to cross. You know, you gotta turn my head still. And, you know, I got plenty of time, but gotta rush it a bit, you know. So I'm not gonna run for the other one because maybe, should I run? It's 12 seconds. Maybe not. I am just gonna stretch it out. 8 seconds now. Nah, just gonna be patient. Be patient, you know. Sometimes it's better to get a little bit of patience. And you know, I would have probably made it halfway with a turn red. So best if I wait. But anyways, for mental health, it's super important to work out. Super important to exercise. Super important to train. To do some push-ups. You know, it just works wonders. And sometimes we gotta admit certain things, and emotions, feelings matter in parallel to the scientific and the science, you know. To the scientific and the science, to the scientific and the science, you know. We gotta get it for that science, for that drill, and we gotta get it on the top, and we gotta get it on the low, and sometimes we gotta go up and down and left and right. And you know, I always say my fitness journey starts today now. As yours can. My fitness journey starts today now. As yours can, as my can. My fitness journey begins today. My fitness journey commences today now, you know. Commences today now, you know. It's commences now today, 6:22. 7:44 is the sunset, you know, so my fitness journey commences now, you know, so we gotta get it for that commence, we gotta get it for that drill, and gratitude is super important. Now is my time to cross. You know? So we gotta get on that gratitude. Now we gotta get grateful and get in the sun, you know. That's how it is, and that's how we drill it. So as we go, of course, all the way to the top, gotta get it on that drill, man. See all this building here. We gotta get it on and down. I wonder what it is. When it was constructed, but it's a nice one. Love it. And get a little bit of that, you know, so a little bit of drill right there, you know. So Somebody's holding hands, so I like to see, man, you know. Let's give me some hope, man. Give me some hope. You know? It's our rainbow love, man. So we go up and down. Anybody want to finance? I go up and down these stairs 300 times. Singing that rainbow loving, man. Freak that rainbow love, man. Gotta go up and down, man. That's what LOV, man. You gotta hold those hands and get that rainbow love and getting on that X, getting on that Y. You know, that's how it is. And you gotta be grateful as we go on the X, on the go. 300 times for your pleasure. I go up and down for $300. Sing it out rock and roll. Sing it out rock and roll. Sing it out rock and roll. For the business. For the pleasure. For the purpose we made it. To the mountain. See, I'm happy now. I saw couples there holding hands and a few before, so you give me hope. Otherwise, what are we fighting for? If somebody not holding hands, not kissing, not hugging, not sharing, you know, with a rainbow love, you know, I get that again, androgynous pansexual. I'm gay, androgynous pansexual, you know, I am gay, androgynous pansexual, and that's just one part of me. You got other parts as well. You gotta get it for the X. We gotta get it for the Y, man. And sometimes you gotta drop that WHY. You know, sometimes you just gotta get drilling and you start your fitness journey today. So as I go marching for the mental health, right now, I'm gonna cut through the forest and again I call it a heart. Please, 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 if you come here, do not pollute. Pick up the garbage, put it in the garbage. Pick up the recycling, put it in the recycling. The compost, you got a place for it. So there's a place, you know. So I'll let my mane out a little bit. Gotta get it for that rock and roll, man. You know. So we gotta get from that drill. We're gonna cut through the forest. This is like my second home here. Whenever I come here, I love to work out. I love to train, to exercise. And of course I pick up the garbage or in the forest, you know. Anyway, it's super important as although get that financial stress, I'm grateful, you know. Rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food, got coffee. What am I driving? Always boots. Proven and tested. What am I driving? Steel toes. What you driving? I say steel toes. What you driving? I said steel toes. Gotta learn for the farmers, man. Farmers! For the butchers, for the bakers, for the nurses, for the doctors, for the firefighters, for the nurses, for the doctors, for the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, firefighters, and bus drivers, for the bus drivers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, the butchers, always on that 24/7 XYZ. For the butchers, for the bakers, for the nurses. Yeah, what I'm driving. So mental health starts a little bit of rock and roll every morning with gratitude, you know. So I go on those marches and you know, I get XYZ, I get on the Y, I get on the double, and this plantation zone here. So please, do not pollute when you come here. See, it's for the flora and the fauna. And now most people stay on the main road, right? So most people stay on that main road. Circle, 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 like on these snakes. So more people stay on the road. But I stay on these. I stay on these. Most people stay on the main road, but I like to go in the wild. In the wild. For mental health, do some push-ups. For mental health, do some squats. For mental health, do some hugs. For mental health, go up on the march. She said, what are you driving? I said, steel toes. That's a good song, guys, out for the construction workers. XYZ, man. Zone de plantation. That's about what we driving here, you know. Yeah. Androgynous, gay, pansexual, always grateful. Always thinking about those butchers, the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters. All those now. Firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. Somebody gotta sing. Ain't nobody perfect. For that public security, Canadian Armed Forces. Let's go. Give me some of the good rock and roll. Ready for Dragon Rainbow rock and roll. If you're not ready, it's coming anyways. Nobody watching YouTuber, but I go viral, viral, viral. It's about time. 7 years. Let's go. Wakey, wakey. Most. People go stay on the main road. But I like to get it in the wild. For that nature, for that flora, for the rabbits and the hawks. In the park, up in the forest, on the mountain, in the glorious. Hey, you know that I rock and roll that 20, that 4/7. For the butchers and the bakers and the nurses and the doctors and the firefighters, those truckers. Hey, in the daycares changing diapers and that smelly gotta get it. For the food and for the belly, for the farmers, for the bakers and the butchers, for the electricians, that plumbers plumbing up. She asked me, what am I driving? I say driving on steel toes. That's in case you gotta know. For the butchers and the bakers, for the nurses and the doctors, for the firefighters and those truckers. Somebody goddamn got a rainbow dragon love them. Somebody gotta get loving for the firefighters. Gotta get home safely. Gotta get that loving. Hey, they never come to me, got that rainbow rock and roll, you see. For the love and for the money, for the love. It ain't all about the money. Sometimes gotta give singing, hey. Got the sun up in the hay. Got a Wall Streeters and charity way. They're so selfish, but truth is they ain't got nothing. I got kisses, and the tickles, and the butchers, and the bakers, and the nurses, and the doctors. Gotta get it up and scrub. Gotta get it up and scrub. I got a rainbow W love. For the butchers, for the bakers. They don't see up in the sea. They don't hide in the shadows that the sun up in the sea. Up in the sea, you see. And the filers and the truckers and the butchers and the bakers and the firefighters and again. Gotta sing it in the nature and civilization. Got the trucks. Got a rainbow construction workers on those steel toes building up. Cranes on the lanes in the plains, lanes for the lanes for the, you gotta say, Dragon Rainbow, that's a yay. That's another rock and roll freestyle rock and roll. We just freestyling, you know. Rock and roll 24/7 for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. When I get that rock and roll, I always get that mental health up. Mental health starts with a little bit of workout, training, exercising, and gratitude for me. Got a little bit of rock and roll, grateful, thankful. That my electricity bills paid, got food, got coffee, and gotta get it for the leg, gotta get it for the leg, gotta get it for the, before it's too late. Somebody gotta hug and spray. Gotta hear me some of that good rock and roll, man. I don't know what that is. That sounds good. Somebody listening to that good rock and roll. I sing on rock and roll, chirping of the birds. The chirping of the birds. Up in the words, up in the said. Up in the lead, up in the blade. That's what I said. For the peace and for the strength. Oh, look at that beauty. See, that's a beauty right there, man. I'm not supposed to touch it, but look at that. It's a beautiful, it's white, eh? A beautiful, tiny white flower. Just right there, man. See? Like the sun's right on it. So these are going to grow here. But the first one emerged, you know. So the first one's emerging, others will emerge. So it's always emerging, right? Because that's why it's important for people not to pollute. You know, so always asking citizens do not pollute. You know, so please do not pollute. I'm going to sing a little bit for that French, you know. So I'm going to sing a little bit for that French and for that X and for that Y and for that Z, you know. So it's always super important to get it on that X, get it on that Y, and get it on the starlight We sing it up in the melody. We sing it up in the face, you see. Hey, let's go. For the butchers and the bakers. And we gotta watch our steps. So once again, we're gonna discuss a little bit of that mental health, but we're gonna do a little bit of singing it on French later on. Sing it in French soon. So before I do it, of course, I do want to discuss my DRT, debt refusion theory, but before I go into the DRT, I don't forget, I gotta do a little bit of the debt refusion theory, and I gotta discuss the DRT stands for debt refusion theory, but first I want to give a little bit of more meditations, and since it is dedicated to mental health, I gotta say that coming here, the air is so fresh. You got a mountain, you got civilization. It's an island. You see this big city, skyscrapers, metropolis, bridges. It's full of concrete and steel, and of course computers linked. North American, NORAD, NATO supercomputers. Let's build for the Dragonomy PvP public-private partnership. That aside, mental health starts with some exercising for me, and I believe for you, and have been and will continue to call for the mass financing of citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise. I do believe it has come time for us to mass finance citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise. Let's go NFL National Football League, NHL National Hockey League, NBA National Basketball Association, MLB. Let's go encourage, incentivize, financialize. That's part of my ongoing campaign as a philosopher, independent artist, athlete, AA artist, athlete with an ASPE with amnesia, so AA parallel to AA. Got that rah, and it says what it is. Sometimes you just got to start your fitness journey, and, I got the backpack on, got a backpack on, so it's always gratitude and always here. The air is so fresh, so I can inspire deeply in the lungs and inhale, exhale to cleanse myself. Before I clean somebody else, I gotta clean myself first. I gotta get to the greater cleaning, gotta clean myself first. I gotta clean myself first. I get dirty. I get very dirty, but I get back clean, regal, loyal, lofty. I get dirty, but I get back clean. Regal, royal, lofty. I get dirty, but I get back clean. Regal, royal, lofty, and no doubt faults. If you really want to know, don't need to spy on me. Russian Secret Service, Chinese Secret Service, Russia Secret Service, Chinese Secret Service, Russia Secret Service, Chinese or Russian Secret Service. I live an austere, severe, simple lifestyle, but yes, I like BDSM switch, so I'll check if nobody's around. I wait until my fellow jogger's passing, so congratulations on the jog. I love to see citizens when they're going on the jog, super important to stay fit and exercise, super good for the body. We gotta get it for the body, So they're exercising. It's important for them to get that exercise. So salute, see, their liberty, my liberty to be in security here, I'm not here. I'm not citizens. They're my cousins, right there. Past cousins, Quebecers. And I switch to that French Canadians. Maybe I heard her speak whatever French and English. Like we got Franglish, English, French, a mixture of French and English here on the island. That's how it is. That's how we rock it. Just like probably in LA, you got that Spanglish, and LA by California, and California kind of the same thing with Quebec here with that French. Anyway, so like I said, there. On the drill there, so working on training, exercising. So I gotta stay to the right, see? Just like driving, I gotta stay on the right side. Just like driving, gotta stay on the right side. It makes it simple, because now I'm outside of my room off St. Temple, Dragon's Lair. So I come outside to my second home here. Watch the beautiful city, see the river behind the trees. You can see all the majestics of Montreal. Second biggest, most populated city in Canada, among the top in North America, 8th, I believe. Well, it was number 1 in Canada for a long time, for many hundreds of years. It was Montreal the most populated for hundreds of years. Big city, right? So it started here, in many ways, the collective North American civilization and North America, right? So anyway, we need to restart now, but that's where I wanted to finish that philosophical dictum. And of course, sometimes we gotta simplify things, and their liberty, their safety, and their joy, maybe for their mental health to be in balance with mine. So I'm working with a laptop, you know. As a YouTuber, I consider this work, and all the years and years and years of YouTube, having, of course, being a YouTuber and being that workout, train, and exercise, it is always on the drill, you know. So it's always on the go, and physical activity has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. And you know, we gotta get it on the now. And like I said, I'm in the public, so I got added responsibilities, duties, and obligations. I'm no longer just a private citizen. Private citizen dragon now has become also public citizen dragon. So private citizen dragon now has become also public citizen dragon. So private, myself as a private citizen, I have become public as well, right? So that dimension added to me, to my citizenship, there's added responsibilities, duties, and obligations. There's added responsibilities, duties, and obligations. There's added responsibilities, duties, and obligations which would have not happened in other ways, right? So now, gotta watch out for my fellow brothers and sisters, cousins, citizens, Canadians, Quebecers, North Americans, and all who join us in the North American complex, in the collective North American complex, or the North American civilizational complex, because we constitute, and we're gonna create that UE just like in the European Union, right? We're gonna make that UE just like in the European Union. We're gonna make that UE just like in the European Union. Rebuild infrastructure, schools, and parks, and clean up the nature. You know, we can do it together, which I'm gonna discuss the DRT. But again, I want to say that here I'm in no longer just a private citizen. Here for Earth, also for Earth, for mental health, and Earth Day special mental health, because gotta get that balance, you know. So that's why it's important not to pollute, not to leave garbage here, not to leave recycling on garbage, because you might kill rabbits, you might kill foxes, you might kill, of course, groundhogs or hawks. I've got lots of flora and fauna species of birds, so we gotta get it on the drill, we gotta get it on the X, you know. So I march now towards the sun. Gonna go around the bar and discuss the DRT in a sec, but that's basically it. When I'm in the private, I have less responsibilities, duties, and obligations as I'm now in the public. There's an added dimension for my fellow citizens. And I say you can say anything, but you're not allowed to make threats, and XYZ may be avenged sevenfold, may be avenged sevenfold, 7 times sevenfold, and the sun might be around. Tell them by 93. I am pro peace. I fight my own battles. But first Donald Trump in a boxing match, and Fury, and can go on anybody who wants to go in the ring with me after that. The DRT, debt refusion theory, what is it? The DRT stands for debt refusion theory, and it's thanks to the curse of Asperger's. I have my obsessions, and one of my obsessions is the study of civilization, and public finance is part of the study of civilizations, and part of the study of civilizations includes the public finance. And now, where we are, we're at a critical level, because the junction has come, as I read 2 days ago, that of course the public finances are the critical level, the critical step, where we have paid so much interest now that we are in a point of a convergence of a potential financial catastrophe. So paradoxically, I studied over the past more than 7 years public finances, a little bit of Canada, a little bit of ancient Rome, ancient Egypt, ancient Sumer, because it dates back to that beginning of civilizations, right? To build civilization, right? So that's what it is. So the DRT, the debt refusion theory, stands for DRT, and is my theory which I've created, and of course we'll continue to create, right? So on the XYZ, the XYZ. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, the DRT stands for the debt refusion theory. And of course, the debt refusion theory is and also includes monetary integration. Monetary integration is exactly what was done in the European Union, right? So the Europeans in Germany, France, Italy, and other countries, they got rid of their own currencies, right? So they adopted a common currency. So my DRT, debt refusion theory, also includes what the European Union did, what the European Union did, what the EU. So many countries in the European Union, back in the 90s, they dropped their old currencies. Germany got rid of the Deutsche Mark, Italy got rid of the lira, and France got rid of the franc. But they adopted a common currency called the euro, and even created a central bank. So they created a new central bank. So all the old central banks of Germany, central bank of Italy, central bank of France, they became obsolete, and they created the European central bank to issue the euro, which many countries throughout the decades have adopted. So the DRT, my debt refusion theory, stands for D, debt. R, refusion theory, of course, includes monetary integration. Monetary integration is exactly what was done in the European Union. Is exactly what was done in the European Union, right? They got rid of their old currencies. So my debt refusion theory includes that theory, right? That theory is included. So the DRT includes monetary integration theory. Monetary integration theory, MIT, monetary integration theory, which is in finance, which is what was done in the European Union. So that's my theory, is this, right? So take all the public and the private, my DRT theory, which includes monetary integration theory. I want to show you first why I say and what is the motive behind me saying that it is the only solution. It's 6:44. So look at here, this is 22nd of November. This was the ballooning debt charges. This picture was taken when they were explaining the public finance situation. So look, in 2020, 2021, it was 20.3. This is just the interest, what's called debt servicing, officially debt servicing. So this is just the interest we pay on the debt. In 2020, 2021, it was 20.3 billion. 2020, 2021, it was 20.3 billion. 2021, it was 20.3 billion. 3 years later, this year, this fiscal year, this budget, it more than doubled. 2023, 2024, it went from 20.3 billion, a billion is 1,000 million, got 9 zeros, that's 20,000 million. 20.3 B, the B is for billion. Look at that, more than doubled. From 20.3 to 46.5. This is the official numbers. These are the official numbers from the Bank of Canada. These are the official numbers from the Bank of Canada. These are the official numbers for the Bank of Canada. This is by CBC here. By the CBC Fall Economic Statement. My brothers and sisters, there's no way but my DRT theory. So what is it? And I gotta say, because as an ASPE, I got those obsessions, so I'm obsessed. And it is with solutions we gotta focus on. My solutions for me, for you, financially, is I'm $10,000 in debt. For us collectively North Americans, the collective North American community, it is the DRT. Just like I say, I do have aggression. My brothers and sisters, I have aggression. But I work out, I train, I exercise. I channel it, I work out, I train, I exercise. I work out, I train. I exercise to harm none. Just like sexuality, nobody's around. I like BDSM, no need to spy on me. Russia, Secret Service of Russia, China, Stasi's are gone after 1989. They lasted 44 years. Notorious Securitate, or whatever have you, Romania, Secret Service, or other Secret Service, Mossad. I like BDSM switch, you know. I like sadomasochism, and I put that already for years, and with consent and hygiene, that's all that's required. With consent and hygiene, that's all that's required. With consent and hygiene, that's all that's required. With consent and hygiene, that is all that's required. So the DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, is of course my theory, which is proponent for the creation of the Universal Exchange Unit. So get it for the UE. So take all private and public debt, refuse it. So all the debt. So my debt, $10,500. Your debt, our debt. So all North Americans, the public and the private of North America. So all the debt, the public and the private. So myself included as a citizen, I got $10,000, 500, right? I got $10,500 in debt. So we're gonna go all the way to the top, right? So we're gonna go. So the DRT stands for debt refusion theory. It is of course my theory for the monetary integration. So take all the public and the private, all the private and the public debt. Right? So my debt is 10,500, right? $10,500 in debt. 10,500. My debt. So my debt, take my debt, your debt, our debt, all the debt, right? All the debt, the public-private partnership, all the private and the public-private partnership debt. So it's a public-private partnership, the PPP, the debt of all Canadians, of all Canadians, of all Canadians, right? Yeah. Yeah, debt of all Canadians. My $10,500. Yours. My 10,500, yours, ours. Add it all up. So this is the DRT, which includes monetary integration theory. All the DRT. So take all the private and the public debt. Gonna go take a picture of that poetry and get it on the X, man. See, there's a poem there, man. But you gotta know it. See? I'm gonna read it to you and do the translation. L'impression persiste, l'image se détache sur le ciel, ses ondes. Ce n'est pas la montagne que je regarde fuser. Et ici, ça dit, cette aiguille d'ombre s'allonge, c'est moi. So that's what it says here. See? If you're into poetry, it's translated like this. This image persists, right? If you're into poetry here, this image persists, and it is detached, and of course it is on the onde. So onde is like waves, you know? That's what it means, like waves. It's not the mountain that I see fused, but it is the of the shadow. So that's what it says here in French. And it is a poem by François Turcotte. So we have poetry all over here. As a poet, you know, it's always good. There's so many hidden poems here on the mountain, but you got to know the mountain a little bit. So it's always fun to check them out. So if you're ever in that corner, you check that poem, but you got to know a little bit of French or do the translation. Anyways, we got plenty of poetry there and here, and there on that corner we got, there's one hidden over there, and there's others hidden over there. So you get that drill and get that drill. So anyways, the DRT theory is, of course, based on the XYZ, based on my Aspies as a philosopher Aspie, and getting on that drill, you know. So we gotta get it for that X, you know. So take all private and public debt, refuse it. So all the debt, my private and my private debt is 10,500. See, look at those dogs, man. They're coming on there, man. Gotta get it for the dogs, man, before they get on the X. Gotta get it for the Y. Just because I got allergies, so I gotta be on the alert, you know. If they come too closely, you just gotta not let them jump, you know. So I get that sneeze, man. Just because of allergies to certain dog breeds, you know. Whoopee. We gotta get it. Anyways, the DRT debt refusion theory. Take all private and public debt. So my private debt is 10,500. 10,500, and of course we got that 10,500, and my debt, your debt, our debt, communal debt, or the debt of private and public debt. Take it all together and of course add it all up. Add it all up. So my 10,000, your 10,000, our 5,000, yours, public and private, and create of course a refusion. So add it all up, all the public and the private debt. Add it all up, and all that number will be the initial money supply of a new central bank, right? So all that money, and of course all the money in the North American complex, the public and the private debt, and of course create what it is for that XYZ, and of course put it all in for the money, and that will create the money supply for this new global central bank. And of course all the public and the private debt, it's gonna be in the trillions. So take it all out, put it all in, that will be the initial money supply for a new global central bank. A new global central bank, North American, to issue what I call the universal exchange unit. Universal exchange unit, preferably by biometrics. The hand, the voice, and the eye are unique biometric identifiers, So create what I call the UE. So take all the private and the public debt, the 10,500 of mine, yours, ours, add it all up. So all the debt, the private and the public debt, and create what I call a refusion. So all that debt is gonna be in the trillions. So all the debt, that will be the initial money supply for a new global central bank, which will issue, of course, the universal exchange. So that's exactly what they did in Europe. It's just that we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna take all the debt, the private and the public debt, and we're gonna refuse it, right? So all the public and the private debt, and of course we're gonna do the refusion. Do the refusion. So all the 10,000, my 10,000, your 10,000, our 10,000, we're gonna get all the money central bank, man. All the money and the central bank. So I'll create a new bank. So 10,500, mine, yours, plus all the public and the private. So the public and the private together, we're gonna be a huge number. All that number is gonna be in the trillions. Right? So we're gonna create a new bank with that, just like they did in the European Union. We're gonna issue a new currency based on the US dollar, because the United States dollar still is the currency of choice for world trade, and of course for international business. So the financing thereof, it will gonna be the initial money supply. All the debt, public and private, Canada, US, Mexico, Haiti, and due to the fact that the United States dollar still is the currency of choice, convert the Canadian debt, public and private debt of Canada, Mexican peso, Haitian gourd, convert it in the millions, in the trillions. All that debt will be the initial money supply. For this new bank, called to give the UE, universal exchange unit, because that's what money is, to buy, sell. That's what fundamentally money is about, right? To enable us to practice and buy and sell. So it's going to be also biometrics, the hand, the voice, the unique biometric identifiers. That's what I'm calling on my astral brother, Scorpio, Bill Gates of Black Hawk, Blackstone, Black Rock, and Blackstone are not the same. It's another Scorpio, Larry Fink with Joe Biden, another Scorpio, triple Scorpios, full moon in Scorpio tomorrow. Doesn't matter, Sagittarius, Taurus, Pisces, all the 12 plus the 13th. And with the sun and the moon together under the stars on earth, in the collective North American civilization. Take all private and public debt, my 10,500, yours, ours, add it all up. That will be the initial money supply for a new central bank. This is the theory, the DRT, to be implemented now. It starts with me, it starts with you, to be implemented now. My implementation starts on the mountain, my second home now. So take all the public and the private debt. All that number will be the initial money supply for this new central bank, just like they did in Europe, but we're going to do it with the DRT. So we're going to, basically, my debt refusion theory, the D, debt R refusion theory, includes monetary integration. It is exactly what they did in Europe. But with this new special 21st century, and you saw where we are with the debt, public debt, and much of private debt, there's no no other solution. You can say whatever XYZ on the left, on the right, and the centrism, like myself, pro-labor, love universal revolutionary center. There's no other way but my DRT theory. At this moment, on this 22nd of April, there's no other way. Ain't no way, Jose. Ain't no way. But the DRT, the debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE, for the creation of the UE, for the creation of the UE. So the universal exchange unit U dot E dot U dot. Universal exchange unit U dot E dot U dot. Universal exchange unit. Based on the US dollar, and we're gonna freeze all the prices. So we're gonna freeze all the prices of milk, butter, cheese, and we're gonna standardize. We're gonna create the UE, and that will be the solution to save us from financial collapse. The solution is the only solution, brothers and sisters. There's no other solution but the DRT, the debt refusion theory. And here, help construct and build right here the Forgotten Goddess Temple, face to face with the House of the Dragon. All I need is 3 rooms, a sleeping quarters, a bathroom with a bathtub, and of course, sleeping quarters, bathroom with a bathtub, and a kitchen. 3 rooms, pyramid, new, simple, austere, face to face with the Forgotten Goddess Temple. 7 rooms, 7 stories, circular, laying the foundations, blah, 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 with trillions of kisses. House of the Dragon, millions and trillions of push-ups and hugs for the Forgotten Goddess Temple. Trillions of kisses for the Forgotten Goddess Temple. Trillions of kisses for the Forgotten Goddess Temple. Trillions of kisses in a circular manner. 7 stories high, rainbow green, lots of rainbow, for dream interpretations, for astrology, full moon celebration, new moon, lots of flora, fauna, astrology, tarot reading. The Forgotten Goddess Temple is what I want to build. Face to face with the House of the Dragon, and to these two add the Rainbow People's Palace, the Rainbow People's Palace. The Rainbow People's Palace, House of the Dragon, simple, austere, severe, pyramid, face to face with the Forgotten Goddess Temple. I'm back to the DRT. So take all the public and the private debt. My debt, your debt, our debt, Canadian dollar debt, refuse it, since the United States currency still is the currency of choice. All the private and the public debt of Canada converted to US dollars is going to be in the trillions. The United States will add it with the United States. We'll add it with the Mexican peso debt, convert all the public and the private debt of Mexico, the peso, add it up with the Haitian gourd, and of course, North American countries and the islands and island states of North America. All that number, all the public and the private debt will be the initial money supply for a new global central bank, a new North American central bank, which will issue the new currency, just like in the European Union, the UE. U dot, E dot, U dot, the Universal Exchange Unit. U dot, E dot, U dot, the Universal Exchange Unit. That's it on that rock and roll. That's the DRT. We got to implement it. So again, for now, is a march for mental health. Encouraging you all to work out, train, exercise. I'm going to switch to that French, because we liable province. But my brothers and sisters, there's no way but the implementation of the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory, the DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So the DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. Look at those mushrooms on it. Beautiful Mother Nature here. I can inhale and exhale, and powerful here. Because of course I'm going to clean my lungs with this, and I always feel good when I come here to the mountain, and as an Aspi artist, AA double parallel, AA Aspi with amnesia, so it's gotta get that out, right? This here, Adrian on the Dragon being reborn, and gotta get it for that D, and it's super important to be grateful, gratitude. Grateful, thankful, my rent's paid, electricity bill's paid, got food and coffee, and Mother Nature here, and dances with a brother's son, and I got those trillions of kisses, laying the foundations with trillions of kisses for the foundation of the House of the Dragon, Forgotten Goddess Temple, House of the Dragon, Forgotten Goddess Temple, House of the Dragon, Forgotten Goddess Temple, right here. And of course, for the People's Palace, the Rainbow People's Palace, Rainbow's People's Palace, for the Rainbow People's Palace. right from this mountain here, thereof, you know. You gotta get it to that X, you know. Gotta get it to the doing. Sometimes it requires us doing, being and doing, philosophy with marching. The DRT is the only solution. Once again, DRT, debt refusion theory, take all public and private debt of North American countries. All the debt, public and private, converted to US dollars because the United States dollar still is the currency of choice. All that finance a new North American integrated central bank to issue a new currency called the UE, Universal Exchange Unit. That's what it stands for. It's going to be based on the US dollar. We're going to create a UE, just like in Europe. Monetary integration. My theory, DRT, includes monetary integration theory. My theory includes monetary integration theory. So take all private and public debt, like I said, refuse it. You know, based on the US dollar. Take all the debt, public and private. My 10,500, yours, ours, together, create a new global central bank. So my debt, your debt is going to be in the trillions. That initial, all the public and private debt of North American countries will be the initial money supply. The initial money supply, the initial money supply will be the initial money supply for a new global central bank, 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 which will issue the Universal Exchange Unit, U dot E dot U dot, the Universal Exchange Unit, U dot E dot U dot, the Universal Exchange Unit, forced by biometrics, the hand, the voice are unique biometric identifiers. So take all the public and the private debt, refuse it, all that number will be in the, all the number is going to be in the trillion, so that will be the initial money supply for a new central bank. All the will be the initial money supply for a new central bank. So that's going to be the UE, Universal Exchange Unit. The DRT includes monetary integration theory, and here we are, made it again to the top. I'm just going to take a little pictures from here because it's rare that I do take pictures from here, from this spot, but this is 704. We're going to drill to get some water and drill it back in the sun, but of course got to get that gratitude and take some pictures here, and we're going to go see it, see the top and take some pics, and we're going to get that gratitude and save there. And here we are, man, you know, on the mountain there, see, just gotta get it for that, see, so pop, pop, pop. There we go. So grateful, thankful, rent, paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and I really need to go drink some water. Gotta stay hydrated, man, stay hydrated, you know. So once again, the DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE. Hey, why are you chirping that bird, man? It says go dragon, go dragon, go rainbow. I say rainbow dragon, go. So take all the public and the private debt. My private debt, 10,500 Canadian, converted to US dollars. All the Canadian debt, public and private, converted to US dollars, added with the public and private debt of US, United States. And I was born twice in the United States, both times post 1776, served in the US Army. So calling on my brothers and sisters, North Americans, Quebecers, Canadians, and for world peace, NATO, Europe, beyond. So here we are, you know. Feels so good, you know. I get that mental health, get some air, go to a forest, you know. It takes social media science, it takes nature, civilization, it takes strength, and it takes the middle and the left and the right, sometimes in the middle, and you know, my public-private partnership, my dream, the dancing goddess in the dragon kingdom, which I'm laying the foundations first and foremost with trillions of kisses, trillions of kisses, trillions of kisses. So my DRT is the only solution, brothers and sisters. There's no other solution but the DRT as I am here. I can say philosopher, and let's sing a little bit of that rock and roll for the butchers and the bakers, for the nurses, for the doctors that gotta go get that hydration. DRT, debt refusion theory, for the creation of the UE is the only solution. And we're gonna sing some of that rock and roll for the nurses and the butchers and the bakers and the doctors and the grocery store clerks. We got a LOV. We got a LOV. We got a you to see, we got a you to be, we got a you to lead. We got a butch, we got a look, we got a few of those rock and roll crooks. We got it for the left, we got it for the right, up in the middle, that's alright. We got a right, we got a spleen, we got a kiss, we got a lean, we got a freeze, we got a scene. We got a kiss, we got a lean, we got a scene, we got a scene, have you seen? That's that rainbow dragon, please, that rock and roll with the crooks. On the truckers and the butchers and the bakers and the nerds and the doctors on the road. Gotta say up in the shook, gotta say up into love. Goddess, I say G-O-D-D-S-S, rock and roll up in the rainbow, got a sun and a sign of sun, and the shining on the one, and the wonder moon. Goddess! Priestess, rebirthing like a phoenix, temple goddess, and the god, and the dancing, that's what God, and the butchers and the bakers and the nurses and the doctors and the farmers, grocery store clerks, windows, carpenters. I need a new table, for the music, for the table, for the music, a new table for the television. Tell my 93, you know, alright. And 93 up in a sight. And rainbow kisses, that's alright. Rainbow kisses, that's polite. When I say up in the high, I say, one more time. Gotta get a push-ups and the drills. Gotta get a chills for the construction workers on those steel toes building skyscrapers. For the truckers on the road, train conductors that choo-choo on that train we go. For you know, up in the road, freestyle up in the rock and roll, up in the hit it as you go, and hit it as you know, hit it on the low. And the melody, I say let's go, fire satellites on fire satellites on fire satellites. Saddle up in the up, saddle up in the up, growly, that's another bull, and the bull. Hot, cause it hot, and hot, cause it hot. And the farmers for the love, the fathers, rainbow dragon, gotta love them, sing them, rock them. Hey, I got $1 for the guitar, let's go rainbow dragon rock. Hey, that was another rock and roll hit. Freestyle mode created here. We rock and roll 24/7, mental health, man. Always, when I rock and roll, I feel good. Man, that came out good. Who say no lying, man? Who say no lying? Who say no lying? But that came out good. Gotta get it for the drill, gotta get it for the love, gotta get it for the X. Gotta get it for the Y, gotta get it for the X, gotta get it for the drill, gotta get it for the X, gotta get it for the Y, gotta get it for the satellites. See? Feels good, feels good. I gotta get it for the drills, you know, so it's always good here. See, tax free arrangement is gonna be a new roads here. I'm excited to see what's gonna be happening, you know. What's gonna be happening over there, man. Look at the moon, man. You can see the moon, you can see the moon. See, you can see the full moon, man. Wow, I don't know how visible it is, but you can see it though. Wow, man. See, I don't know if it's visible on the net, but gotta get that matchmaking, man. I love to matchmake. Look at that moon, man. So you can see it all there, man. It's like a moon, guys, you know. Almost full is gonna be tomorrow, man. We're gonna get it on the X, man. the greatest city in the world, man. Look at that. There we go, man. Super nice, man. Switch it down, friend. See? Gotta get that pyramid, man. See, that's the pyramid city right there, man. See? Switch it up French, let's go. On va changer pour en français, on est rendu sur la montagne. On va faire pour la belle province une chanson aujourd'hui pour la santé mentale. Le dragon arc-en-ciel, on s'en va vers le soleil. Vers le soleil, voilà la ville de Montréal. Et je vous encourage tous et tout à faire l'entraînement physique. L'entraînement physique a été sur ma médecine et thérapie de choix. Ah ouais, à l'entraînement, on va les montagnes ensemble, on va pouvoir les bouger. Québécois, Québécoises, pour la santé mentale, de l'entraînement physique, on finance, ah ouais. Hydro-Québec et Céline, les joueurs des Canadiens, sont pas en série, fait que j'entends crier mes voisins. Les Canadiens sont pas en série, j'entends crier mes voisins. Ouais, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique. L'entraînement physique a été sur ma médecine et thérapie de choix. C'est le temps, l'heure, le moment, la minute. Les 44 et plus peut-être secondes pour la gratitude. Mais avant, qui veut me financer que je descends puis je monte des escaliers comme cela, c'est peut-être celle-là, ici, en arrière, de la montagne de Montréal, s'il vous plaît. Jetez pas dans les poubelles, dans les vidanges. Faites du recyclage, ramassez vos cochonneries après vous, les mettez dans les vidanges. Là, le recyclage, c'est pour ça qu'il y a les travailleurs publics. Qu'on les aime en amour pour les pompiers, les infirmières, les travailleurs publics qui changent des aqueducs, qui ramassent chez nous. Je dois dire salut et salutations pour les 3 services. Pour le ramassage du compostage. Pour le ramassage des poubelles, pour le ramassage des poubelles du compostage, puis les vidanges. 3 services, compostage, recyclage, poubelle, 3 services à chaque semaine. Je dois saluer le chanter du Rock&Roll parce que j'ai l'Asperger, je suis aspi, donc je veux dire ma gratitude. Votre dragon arc-en-ciel qui danse le plus, philosophe, artiste. Je dois dire ma gratitude. Mon loyer payé, j'ai payé mon loyer pour le mois de avril. J'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité. J'ai du café, j'ai du thé. Mon loyer payé, j'ai payé mon loyer. L-O-Y-R, 5 lettres. Mon loyer. J'ai payé pour ma gratitude arc-en-ciel, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, go Hydro-Québec, go Hydro-Québec, go! Qu'on construit, bâtit d'autres centrales. Puis je dois remercier parce que je suis en train de faire cette vidéo avec mon ordinateur portable. Puis ça utilise de l'électricité qui ne pollue pas. Renouvelable donc. Rock&Roll double pour la nature. Puis aujourd'hui c'est le jour de la Terre. Aujourd'hui c'est le jour de la Terre. Je suis venu embrasser la montagne. Pour la Terre, pour la 3e vidéo pour la santé mentale. La 3e vidéo pour la santé mentale. La 3e vidéo pour la santé mentale. Et bien sûr, en faisant ici de l'entraînement physique, c'est bien sûr tout ce que j'ai besoin. J'ai besoin toujours d'un câlin, le câlin, massage, mais un massage thérapeutique, mais vous savez quoi? Les pompiers, les fermiers et les infirmières, ils ont besoin d'un massage Plus que moi-même, plus que moi-même. Donc, financez-les, s'il vous plaît, millionnaires, milliardaires, parce que moi, j'ai la gratitude. Mon loyer est payé, ma facture d'électricité est payée, j'ai du café et du thé, puis j'ai quand même des choses de sucré pour un soir. Ça va goûter bon, fait que j'ai la gratitude pour ça. Là. Et je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique. Je répète plusieurs fois, c'est important de faire l'entraînement physique. C'est super important de faire l'entraînement physique. Super important de faire l'entraînement physique. Pour moi, c'est ma thérapie et médecine de choix. Quand je m'entraîne, je me sens bien. Super, des fois, mais j'ai conquis, j'étais en dépression, puis suicidaire, puis, tu sais, j'ai l'amnésie rétrograde qu'on appelle, puis l'Asperger, je me souviens avoir déménagé dans une couple d'années, puis j'ai laissé une petite place sous-sol à Côte-de-Neige, il y avait beaucoup de moisissures, puis je m'en souviens pas, je me souviens avoir déménagé, j'étais en dépression suicidaire, puis qu'est-ce qui m'a fait sortir de la dépression? C'est quand être suicidaire, c'est quand j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. J'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte, Je suis allé à Vancouver. Puis bien sûr, j'ai juste allé en Colombie-Britannique, à Vancouver, puis je suis de retour. Ça, c'était en août 2017, 6 ans et 5 mois à peu près. J'étais en dépression, j'étais allé là-bas, j'étais allé à Halifax. Ça a pris 25 heures et 44 minutes, 25 heures et 44 minutes. Puis j'étais allé à Halifax. J'étais allé à Halifax. Puis cet événement-là dans ma vie, ça m'a fait sortir de la dépression. J'ai dit tellement de choses que j'ai à faire, que j'ai écrit des livres d'enfants, puis bien sûr, pas juste à écrire des livres d'enfants, mais à écrire voir des choses à travers l'Amérique du Nord, parce que c'est chez nous. Je suis un Nord-Américain, Canadien, Québécois. Personnellement, je me considère pas comme un membre d'une diaspora. Personnellement, c'est chez nous. Je me considère pas un membre d'une diaspora. Je suis citoyen du monde, mais je me considère pas en étant un membre d'une diaspora. Je suis Québécois, Canadien, Nord-Américain. Puis pour la paix du monde, citoyen, je peux être universel aussi, mais c'est vraiment l'île de Montréal, puis l'Amérique du Nord que je connais le plus. Puis regardez, ici, bien sûr, c'est où je veux construire, bâtir la maison du dragon, la maison du dragon, et le temple de la déesse, oubliez le temple de la déesse, oubliez ici. Face à face vis-à-vis de la maison du dragon, 3 chambres, une chambre à coucher, une chambre à dormir, puis une cuisine, une chambre à coucher, une salle de bain avec un bain, une salle de bain avec un bain, une chambre à coucher, et bien sûr, une chambre à coucher avec un bain. Avec le bain dans le bain, là, dans la salle de bain, puis chambre à coucher avec un lit, puis une cuisine pour faire la cuisine. 3 chambres dans cette pyramide, vis-à-vis face à face, avec le temple de la déesse oubliée ici. Pour des événements comme la pleine lune. Je viens de voir la pleine lune. Wouh! La déesse des bénévoles, les châteaux et des bisous de Rock&Roll 24/24. Je suis philosophe, artiste et athlète, je vous fais appel, puis je crédite des milliards. Des bisous pour construire, bâtir le temple de la déesse oubliée à 7, le chiffre après 6 qui suit 6 avant 8, c'est 7. Ici, le temple de la déesse oubliée vis-à-vis North Star sévère. Mais en écarlate, rouge, pyramide du dragon. Et ici, vis-à-vis la maison du dragon, le temple de la déesse oubliée, pour des activités comme l'interprétation des rêves, le tarot, puis la danse, puis des choses comme ça. Ça, c'est mon rêve. Avec une 3e bâtiment. Le 3e bâtiment, le palais du peuple arc-en-ciel, le palais du peuple arc-en-ciel, le palais du peuple arc-en-ciel, le palais du peuple arc-en-ciel. Donc, c'est ça que je veux, je souhaite travailler en construction. Blablabla, on vous salue. Puis on vous admire, puis on vous envoie de l'amour avec du rock-and-roll, votre dragon arc-en-ciel vous admire quand vous êtes sur la grue en haut. Sur sa grue en haut, placez du béton. Sa grue en haut, placez du béton. Sa grue en haut, placez du béton. Je suis un fan, je suis un partisan, puis j'aime ça, tu sais, puis je vais voir avec des bottes de câble d'acier, puis avec du acier, du métal, puis du savoir-faire, puis c'est eux autres qui l'ont bâti, fait que je salue toujours, parce que la civilisation est un privilège, puis ici dans la nature, il faut faire de l'effort. Aujourd'hui, pour la 3e vidéo de la série de marche, danse, rock&roll de votre dragon arc-en-ciel, artiste, athlète, philosophe, indépendant bien sûr, à cette marche. Je suis ici, puis je fais mon possible. Moi-même, j'avoue, moi-même, mes chers, j'ai de l'agression. J'en aime aussi de l'agression. J'en aime moi tout, l'agression. Mais mes chers, famille, Québécois, des fois on est dysfonctionnel, mais tabarnak, Je m'entraîne, je fais l'exercice physique. Je m'entraîne, je fais de l'exercice physique. Je m'entraîne. Je fais de l'exercice physique pour ne pas faire mal à qu'une autre personne. Super important. La sublimation. La sublimation, la canalisation, on sublime ces énergies-là. On les sublime dans les choses qui peuvent être construites, les choses qui peuvent nous donner du plaisir pour faire la nature, pour la civilisation pour la nature, l'harmonie pour le travail, pour l'art, la civilisation, pour le plaisir de l'autrui, de l'autre, amener de la joie et du plaisir à quelqu'un d'autre. Par de l'art, l'entraînement physique. C'est super important, là. La sublimation, puis moi-même, j'en ai aussi. Tu sais, j'étais en dépression suicidaire, il y a 6 ans et demi. Puis cet événement-là, quand j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte, ça m'a fait sortir de la dépression. Puis je me suis dit, tellement de choses à faire, tellement de choses à voir, tellement de choses à voir, puis tellement de choses à faire, tellement de choses à voir, puis tellement de choses à faire, tu sais. J'ai dit tellement de choses, là. Dans la belle province, au Canada, en Amérique du Nord, à voir, puis à faire, à voir, puis à faire, tellement de choses, là, tu sais, que je me suis mis à m'entraîner. Puis, comme puis j'ai ces obsessions, les intérêts, tu sais, la condition neurologique, parce qu'il n'y a pas de médicaments, il n'y a pas de médicaments pour ma condition d'Asperger, c'est l'autisme hautement fonctionnel. Bien sûr, je suis obsédé par certains sujets. Puis mes sujets d'intérêt obsessif, c'est la géopolitique, l'étude, puis je suis un analyste et théoricien indépendant en géopolitique. Je peux en parler pendant des heures. Et bien sûr, en géopolitique, je peux dire que je suis super bon. En même temps, j'avoue que dans d'autres choses, je suis médiocre, comme ci, comme ça, pas bon. Mais en géopolitique, et puis l'entraînement physique en étant athlète arc-en-ciel indépendant, parce que c'est une de mes obsessions, l'entraînement physique, avec bien sûr l'hygiène en public, puis les études de civilisation. Ça, c'est comme mes obsessions. Géopolitique, sport, la danse. La danse est mon sport préféré, la danse est mon sport préféré, puis le pape, le soleil est mon pape, et puis regarde, et l'épervier qui vole, ça c'est un bon signe, vous avez vu, ils planent comme ça, ils planent dans les arbres, et c'est toujours comme l'autre fois je les vois, et puis là je vais prendre une photo de mon pape, parce que le soleil est mon pape. Je viens de faire dans les combats plusieurs, mais une chanson que j'aime ça composer, je vais juste aller voir sur le côté, puis on va retourner par l'autre bord, mais bien sûr, je dois dire ma gratitude encore une fois, parce que c'est super important pour moi-même, pour la santé mentale. Puis un peu de soleil, puis de l'eau, puis l'entraînement physique. Puis je fais appel au financement. Des fois, tu sais, on prend un peu de médias sociaux. Moi-même, j'ai été toxique. Ben, je m'entraîne, je travaille pour moi-même aussi en faire, tu sais. En faire tellement de travail. J'ai été moi-même toxique, tu sais. Mais s'il faut faire du travail, ici, on va voir au carré roche. On va voir si on peut y faire ici, man. Et voilà. Ah ouais, on peut voir le soleil, on va aller voir par là. Enfin, le cycliste, il va voir là. Le coucher de soleil. Et voilà, look at the hawks. Oh yeah, look at the hawks, man. Oh yeah, that's a good omen. See? Ça, c'est des éperviers. Look at the hawks. Look at that. That's the hawks. See? Hawks. Look at the hawks. Oh yeah, you see those hawks? Yeah, baby. I'm gonna go towards the hawks. Ça, c'est des éperviers. See how they fly? See how they fly? They just glide. See? Look at those hawks, man. We follow the hawks. We all follow the hawks. Hawk Island. Hawk Island, Montreal. Oh yeah, I saw the hawks, man. See? Ah, là, ça, c'était quelque chose. C'est des éperviers, ça. Les éperviers. C'est rare, on les voit. C'est rare, c'est... C'est rare. Mais on les a vus. C'était comme un bon signe, tu sais, que ça fasse. Alors, There they are. On the Hawks. The Hawks, man. The Hawks. That's the Hawks, man. Hawks. Hawks. Yeah, we got those Hawks. Je suis content, je viens de voir les éperviers, c'est rare, puis c'est comme un bon signe, on va dire, ouais, ça va vers le soleil, puis les éperviers, mais c'est la manière qu'ils volent, tu sais, avec les ailes, puis ici, un autre poème, on va lire ce poème ici, ici pour voir, tu sais, je vais prendre une photo ici, ici, oui. Si vous venez ici, il y a des poèmes qu'on voit. Si ça te rend le monde visible, te donne l'ombre ou renaître. Puis ici, il y a des poèmes partout dans la ville. Ici, oui, c'est un poème par Suzanne Jacob. Fait qu'ils ont pris des parties des poèmes comme ça. Tu vois? Ça parle du soleil. C'est un poème, une poésie qui parle du soleil. Puis à travers la montagne, vous en trouvez bien beaucoup. Ici, c'est une belle place, c'est quand même beau. Regardez, puis si ça vous intéresse, la poésie, en tant que poète, je vous dis que c'est des bons parties de poèmes, genre, qui sont partout de côté comme ça, puis ça passe une par l'autre, par là et là, fait que c'est Suzanne Jacob, fait que là, il y a la poésie partout un peu, tu sais. Il y a la poésie partout, genre, partout. So, you gotta get it on the X. Gotta get it on the X. So we gotta get it for the X. Fait qu'encore une fois, l'entraînement physique, ça fait toujours du bien, ça fait toujours du bien. Puis ici quand je viens, puis surtout à coucher du soleil, dans les arbres pour l'harmonie, tu sais. C'est super important de faire l'entraînement physique, tu sais. Puis je vous encourage, tu sais, c'est quelque chose que je vous encourage, bien sûr, à faire l'entraînement physique, bien sûr. Puis l'entraînement physique a été sur ma médecine et thérapie de choix. Et bien sûr, votre dragon arc-en-ciel vous parle de la théorie de la refusion de la dette, puis la gratitude, mais ici, en étant sur la montagne, je suis toujours en mode de création, puis toujours en mode méditation, puis je médite maintenant, qu'est-ce qui se passe dans les pompiers. Regardez le soleil, c'est mon plan. Des fois, je dis, que je suis la poussière aussi, la poussière, tu sais. Je suis la poussière, puis... Mais je suis pas sans défaut, puis c'est toujours quelque chose avec l'Asperger's que je dois gérer mes symptômes parce qu'il n'y a pas de médicament pour l'Asperger's, tu sais, mais ça donne que ma malédiction d'avoir l'Asperger's, une condition neurologique, ça en fait que je suis prédisposé à avoir des dispositions qui me fait que je suis super obsédé par certains sujets, puis bien sûr, ils ont fait ces sujets-là, bien sûr, qui ont fait que je peux vous présenter mes théories puis mes philosophies pour qu'est-ce que j'appelle le collectif de civilisation nord-américain. Parce qu'un Québécois canadien nord-américain, moi en tant que philosophe artiste, aspire avec amnésie rétrograde, puis bien sûr, qui a mes propres théories, je fais appel bien sûr à un partenariat public-privé, parce que fondamentalement, quand je fais appel pour le soutien de mon rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse du dragon qui danse, le royaume du dragon et de la déesse qui danse, comme le soleil, la lune, les étoiles, par terre pour le jour, la terre. Polluez pas, s'il vous plaît. J'étais dans les vidanges, vous mettez des recyclages. Si c'est des canettes, on y va. Ça prend l'action individuelle pour l'environnement, pour le collectif. Et donc, c'est super important de faire de l'entraînement physique. Super important. Pour la santé mentale. Je répète, je dis souvent, mais c'est parce que c'est super important. moi, ça me fait du bien. Puis j'ai le temps qu'on finance, tu sais, parce que les médias sociaux, les ordinateurs, c'est bon, mais la nature, c'est bon aussi. Tu sais, des fois, juste venir méditer aussi, la nature, je suis toujours en mode méditation, tu sais. Qu'est-ce qui se passe, bien sûr, avec les pompiers, les caissiers, les travailleurs dans les restaurants, bien sûr, mais les boulangers aussi, hein? Les boulangers dans les boulangeries, ceux qui font dans les cuisines, tu sais, tout. Puis bien sûr, qui font tout ça, bien sûr, qui font l'élevage, puis les travailleurs dans l'agriculture, les camionneurs, les électriciens, les boulangers dans les boulangeries, puis qui font le pain, puis les infirmières, puis bien sûr, dans les garderies, ils changent les couches, puis ils font la lecture à des enfants, des livres, puis à tous les niveaux, bien sûr, de la haute, des petits, puis bien sûr qui sont bien sûr dans les forces armées, puis bien sûr les ambulances, puis quelqu'un il faut qu'il chante aussi du rock&roll pour les services de sécurité aussi en tant que citoyen. Tu sais, maintenant j'ai des obligations, responsabilités que je n'ai pas quand j'aurais resté dans ma grotte de dragon arc-en-ciel. Tu sais, j'aurais pas eu les mêmes responsabilités, obligations bien sûr que j'ai maintenant. Tu sais. C'est exactement maintenant que j'en fasse. On va faire ça avec l'entraînement physique bien sûr, puis ici j'ai pas les mêmes responsabilités ici. J'ai des responsabilités, obligations, devoirs additionnels qui se rajoutent pour un étant bien sûr ici. En tant que citoyen, j'ai des responsabilités additionnelles. Je vais rester dans ma grotte arc-en-ciel, bien sûr. Je vais rester dans ma grotte arc-en-ciel. J'aurais pu rester chez nous ou rien faire. Ou me pogner le beigne, comme on dit en québécois. J'aime moi les beignes, c'est pas grave, mais je viens faire ce qui est bon pour ma santé mentale, puis qu'est-ce que j'aime, puis je suis obsédé par l'entraînement physique ayant perdu du poids, puis c'est qu'est-ce qui m'a fait sortir, qu'est-ce qui me fait que je suis plus en dépression puis suicidaire. Mais l'événement qui m'a fait sortir de la dépression puis de suicidaire, c'est quand j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. Parce que je me suis dit tellement de choses à faire, à voir, à écrire des chansons rock&roll, à composer des poèmes, puis à continuer mon travail en tant qu'artiste, athlète, philosophe. Je suis artiste, athlète, philosophe. Je suis tellement pas parfait, loin de là, puis oui, pas besoin de m'espionner. Les services secrets de la Russie, les services secrets de la Chine, Stasi de l'Allemagne sont partis en 1989 après 44 ans, ou ça que ce soit d'autres. Parce que je suis ouvert, je regarde aussi. Parce que des fois, il ne faut pas que je discute des choses plus adultes s'il y a du monde, s'il y a alentour, surtout des enfants, il faut faire attention. Mais je me suis masturbé ce matin, c'est bon pour la santé mentale, il faut qu'on en parle des choses. Moi, qu'est-ce que j'aime? Puis maintenant, je fais des amis avec bénéfice seulement, des amis avec bénéfice seulement, des amis avec bénéfice seulement, et bien sûr, des amis avec bénéfice seulement, et bien sûr, des amis avec bénéfice seulement, puis prêter allégeance les gens. Et je suis bien sûr, fais partie de la communauté LGBTQ, je suis pas parfait loin de là, puis ça fait des choses que j'aime faire, puis j'aime ça, bien sûr, l'entraînement physique, mais bien sûr aussi le sadomasochisme. Mais bon, faut que on change de sujet, change de sujet un peu, change de sujet même. Je vous laisse passer, mais fait que aujourd'hui, en faisant cette vidéo pour l'entraînement physique, et puis pour la santé mentale, puis pour la santé mentale, puis pour la santé mentale seulement, c'est important, tu sais, de faire des choses qui nous laissent sortir dans la nature aussi, qui nous laissent respirer un peu de l'air frais, le changement d'air ici. L'air est frais, ça se nettoie, les poumons, puis ça fait du bien ici. Hein? Je suis ici, ça fait du bien, je me sens bien déjà. Mais il va falloir, là, si la température a baissé un peu, il va falloir que je mette mon coat, mais je suis en train de penser, bien sûr, puis avant que je discute la théorie de la refusion de la dette, que je m'en vais boire de l'eau, puis je suis de retour chez nous, puis ça va faire, encore une fois, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique. L'entraînement physique a été selon ma médecine de thérapie de choix, puis ça fait du bien. Juste, des fois, c'est dur. Des fois, je file pas 100%, moi non plus. Mais j'ai des émotions, j'ai des choses que j'aimerais avoir, comme un gros massage thérapeutique, mais vous savez quoi? Financer les infirmières, financer les pompiers, financer pompiers, infirmières, puis les fermiers dans les fermes. Financez-là, millionnaire, milliardaire, un massage thérapeutique. Moi, je vais pouvoir prendre un bain. J'en ai pris un bain en fin de semaine. Les autres, ils ont besoin plus que moi. Ils ont besoin plus que moi. Puis ils méritent plus que moi. Ils méritent plus que moi. Moi, je peux en faire. Puis avec la méditation, puis le soleil, puis ça en fait du bien. Puis je prends un bain, puis je suis correct. J'aimerais s'en avoir un, mais bon. Si vous voulez que j'en dise de plus, là, je peux pas me le permettre. Je suis en dette de 10 500 $, mais là, pas tout l'argent, la dette financière. Hein. Ben du monde aussi, stressé. Mais mon loyer est payé pour le mois d'avril. J'ai payé mon loyer, ma facture d'électricité aussi. J'ai du café, du thé, puis j'ai de la gratitude, puis ma santé mentale, mais je me garde en forme avec l'entraînement physique. Il y a tellement de choses que je sais pas, tellement de choses, écoutez, je sais pas tellement de choses, je sais pas, mais qu'est-ce que je sais, là, c'est que j'ai prévu la situation actuelle. Qu'est-ce qui se passe dans le monde d'aujourd'hui? Puis ça, c'est encore une fois, grâce, si je dis, grâce à avoir été maudit par l'Asperger's. En étant aspi, il n'y a pas de médicament pour l'Asperger's. Qu'est-ce qu'on appelle aussi l'autisme hautement fonctionnel? C'est juste savoir gérer mes symptômes. La gestion de mes symptômes. Tu sais? Ne pas m'approcher trop proche des gens, des citoyens quand je leur parle. Ne pas faire des gestes un peu répétitifs, rituels avec le corps. Puis bien sûr avec le corps, avec les mains, ou ne pas être obsédé, ou ne pas parler trop de mes obsessions, ou ne pas diriger la discussion vers la géopolitique, parce que ça c'est mon intérêt obsessif, vers le sport, que j'adore le sport, la danse est mon sport préféré, mais j'aime ça le hockey, le basketball, puis la boxe aussi, puis bien sûr, parlez pas trop de civilisation, puis aussi, tu sais, avec l'hygiène en public, parce que ça, c'est mes obsessions principales. Puis d'autres aspects qui ont l'Asperger's, bien sûr, il y a d'autres obsessions qu'ils peuvent avoir, comme la chimie, ou la géographie, ou l'histoire, des choses comme ça. Et moi, c'est quand même, avec les études de la civilisation, je peux dire que l'histoire, tu sais, ça en fait partie. Puis, je fasse la gestion de mes... Que je fasse la gestion de mes symptômes, tu sais. En étant androgène, gay pansexuel, androgène, androgène pansexuel, ou de quelle manière, vice-versa, mais ça fait que je suis une double minorité, si on veut, mais en tant qu'individu, tu sais, on a tous des choses individuelles, puis l'individu doit marcher, fonctionner en équilibre, en alliance, en harmonie avec le collectif. Je suis centriste, nord-américain pour la paix mondiale. Je peux être universel aussi, mais fondamentalement, qu'est-ce que je connais le plus? C'est l'île de Montréal, le Québec, le Canada, mais même si je suis un mystique, j'y crois à des réincarnations. Je suis né plusieurs fois dans bien d'autres places à travers les âges, mais aussi bien sûr ici sur l'île de Montréal, 3 fois entre 1635 et 1904. C'est né 3 fois sur l'île de Montréal, même aussi avant 1492, avant que Jacques Cartier arrive, en 1535, 1535. J'étais né plusieurs fois avant, ici sur l'île de Montréal, puis à travers l'Amérique du Nord, puis à travers les âges, puis je crois à la réincarnation, puis tout ça, en tant que guide spirituel universel, étudiant aussi, parce qu'il y a bien des choses, je sais pas, je dis le pape. J'ai un pape, c'est le soleil est mon pape, se lève à l'est, se couche à l'ouest, ou qu'on y va vers ma grotte. Il y a des choses que je sais pas, mais qu'est-ce que je sais, je peux vous en dire, vous en parler. Puis ça, c'est la géopolitique, 24/24, puis je suis un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique. L'entraînement physique, bien sûr. L'entraînement physique, la géopolitique, la civilisation, les études en civilisation, puis ma théorie, la TRD, que je vais discuter maintenant. Puis encore une fois, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique, ça fait du bien pour la santé mentale. Je vous encourage à faire de l'entraînement physique. C'est bon pour la santé mentale. Je vous encourage à faire de l'entraînement physique. C'est bon pour la santé mentale. C'est bon pour la santé mentale. c'est bon pour la santé mentale, ça fait du bien. L'entraînement physique. Et c'est super bon, puis je me sens toujours mieux quand je m'entraîne, quand je vais dans la nature. Tu sais, des fois, c'est juste venir dans la nature, prendre une respiration, puis avec la gratitude. Je trouve la gratitude aussi, c'est un ingrédient pour la santé mentale puis pour le bien-être. Pour le bien-être, tu sais, pour le bien-être. Parce que la civilisation est un privilège, hein? La civilisation est un privilège, mais la civilisation est un privilège, tu sais. Fait qu'il faut quand même être conscient de ça. Puis tout l'Hydro-Québec, tu sais, grâce à l'Hydro-Québec, les travailleurs du passé, 1940, 1940, 50, 60, 70, les dernières, plus que 44 ans, mais plus que ça, là, 66, là, plus, entre 1947 puis maintenant, les centrales qui ont été bâties. Je suis en train de faire cette vidéo grâce à l'électricité qui ne pollue pas à l'Hydro-Québec, puis je peux marcher jusqu'à ce parc, puis l'électricité, toutes ces choses-là, la technologie, puis les bâtiments, puis bien sûr, tu sais, les autoroutes, le travail de services publics, les vidanges, la sanitation publique. C'est super important. La sanitation publique, c'est super important. La sanitation publique, super important, la sanitation publique. On doit faire un effort. On doit faire un effort. Souvent, vous voyez, pendant des années, puis des centaines de vidéos, quand je vais dans la forêt, je ramasse des canettes, je les mets dans le recyclage. Que ce soit des canettes ou d'autres choses qui ne se recyclent pas, on ne peut pas faire le recyclage, je les mets dans les vidanges. Depuis des années, vous voyez, sur mes vidéos, j'en ai fait bien des vidéos, j'en ai plein, que vous voyez que je ramasse, puis je mets dans les poubelles. Parce que peut-être j'ai sauvé des lapins, peut-être j'ai sauvé des écureuils, des marmottes, d'autres espèces de flore, peut-être des fleurs, peut-être de la faune et la flore, parce qu'ici, au centre, au cœur, centre, sud, dans le sud par exemple, c'est le système de montagne Mont-Royal, qui a 3 sommets, Mont-Royal, Outremont, l'autre bord là-bas, puis Westmount, où que je me dirige, puis je vais aller sur Westmount. C'est toujours un constant, puis pour apprécier les travaux publics, ils sont en train de faire d'autres routes, et regarder la lune. En parlant de la lune, puis le soleil, qu'il est belle, je vais en prendre juste une photo, puis je vais discuter la théorie de la dette, puis je me dirige vers chez nous, parce que aujourd'hui, je voulais faire une marche quand même. Je suis à la marche, ça fait déjà un bon bout. Et demain, c'est la pleine lune. C'est la pleine lune demain. C'est demain que c'est la pleine lune. C'est là. Pleine lune demain, donc je veux avoir du repos parce que je veux faire du nettoyage cette semaine, du bon nettoyage. Puis un bon jour. Puis ça dure comme 3 jours la pleine lune, mais c'est demain soir. Fait que demain soir, c'est le premier jour. Mais on peut dire le jour d'avant aussi. Fait que ça dure. Si demain on est mardi, aujourd'hui on est lundi aujourd'hui. Fait que demain, mercredi, jeudi, vendredi. Ouais. Puis on peut la ressentir dès aujourd'hui. Eh oui, qu'elle est belle, hein? Ça reflète le soleil, mais quelle heure qui est déjà? Tourne ma tête de gauche à droite. 7h44, 7h44, 7h44. Et voilà la lune. Et c'est le temps que je discute la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Mais encore une fois, je dois dire ma gratitude. On chante, ils sont les chevaux de la police, où qui sont les chevaux de la SPM qui montrent du foin, des fois, on fait moins un dessin pour la déesse, oubliez. Ah, qu'elle est belle la lune, hein? Eh ouais, avec le coucher du soleil. Fait que la théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD, qu'est-ce que c'est la TRD? La théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est bien sûr ma théorie. Et bien sûr, je peux vous dire que ça vient de être maudit par l'Asperger's, et intermondie par l'Asperger, ça fait que j'ai bien sûr des obsessions. Puis une de mes obsessions, bien sûr, c'est les études en géopolitique, l'étude de civilisation. Puis bien sûr, ça en fait partie quand je fasse des études en civilisation, mais ça inclut les études de finances publiques. Et je vais vous montrer pourquoi je dis que bien sûr, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est la seule et unique solution qu'il y a en ce moment pour nous sortir de la situation actuelle. Donc la TRD, qu'est-ce que c'est la TRD? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est la TRD? La théorie de la refusion de la dette. La théorie de la théorie de la refusion de la dette. La théorie de la refusion de la dette. La TRD. Bien sûr. Donc, je vais vous montrer. Et tenez compte que la TRD, ma théorie, inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Donc, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, ça inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Donc, c'est quoi? Regardez ça. Ça, c'est la dette. Qu'est-ce qu'on paye l'intérêt? Soit servir la dette publique, c'est rendu à ce point-là. Ça, c'est une photo du 22 novembre 2023, l'année passée, publiée par le CBC. Puis ça, c'est les chiffres qui existent en temps réel, la Banque du Canada. C'est des chiffres réels, ça. C'est pas fictif. Vous pouvez le vérifier par vous-même. Si vous ne croyez pas vérifier, faites une vérification. On est rendu à payer une énorme somme sur la dette publique. Juste l'intérêt qu'on paye, regardez ça. Juste l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique. Je vais vous montrer l'intérêt qu'on paye sur la dette publique, mes chers. Et voilà. Et ça, c'est l'intérêt public. Donc, tenez compte, ça, c'est juste l'intérêt public. Donc, en 2020-2021, on payait 20,3 milliards. 1 milliard, ça, 9 zéros, c'est 1000 millions, 1 milliard. B, c'est billion, ça, c'est des milliards, ça. C'est 20 milliards, 1000 millions qu'on paye. C'est 9 zéros. Fait que 20,3 plus 8 autres zéros, c'est 20 000 millions. C'est milliards. Puis 3 ans plus tard, cette année 2023-2024, vous voyez, c'est combien? 46,5. Fait que ça a plus que doublé. C'est plus que le double. 20,3 fois 2, ça aurait été 40,6. C'est rendu 45,5. 46, correction. C'est rendu cette année qu'on va payer 46,5. Je sais bien qu'il y a eu la COVID puis tout ça, mais regardez ça, là. Ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans. C'est jamais été comme ça. C'est rendu, je l'ai lu dans l'article, il y a 3 jours, samedi matin, ou dimanche matin, non, samedi matin, j'avais lu dans un article, c'est rendu à parité l'intérêt qu'on paye. Puis qu'est-ce qu'on paye pour les services publics? Fait qu'il n'y a pas d'autre solution que la TRD, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, la TRD. La théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est la seule solution. Et je vais vous expliquer c'est quoi, puis je vais regarder encore une fois, là. Ça a plus que doublé. Payer l'intérêt seulement. Seulement payer l'intérêt sur la dette publique. Ça, c'est même pas le chiffre de la dette publique totale. Donc, ça va être rendu une catastrophe financière, ça. Et ça, c'est arrivé déjà. Mais non, j'ai la solution. Votre dragon arc-en-ciel, qui est loin d'être parfait, mais qui est aspect, puis a ses obsessions. J'ai étudié pendant des années les civilisations, les finances publiques, puis je vous présente la solution. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, la théorie R, refusion de la dette, la TRD. Puis ma théorie, ça inclut qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait en Europe, c'est l'intégration monétaire. Les Allemands, c'est quoi l'intégration monétaire? Je vais vous l'expliquer maintenant. Tenez compte que ma théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est une théorie financière qu'il faut faire l'implémentation de suite. Aujourd'hui, ça commence avec moi-même. C'est urgent. Ça, je fais appel à tous et toutes de soutenir l'implémentation de celle-là. Et donc, faire la théorie de l'implémentation, pour l'implémentation, mais c'est ça. C'est prendre toute la dette publique-privée, toute la dette publique-privée, toute la dette publique ainsi que privée, là. Ma dette de 10 500 en tant que citoyen, artiste, athlète, philosophe, qui a quand même l'agression, mais qui s'entraîne pour ne pas faire mal à aucun citoyen, juste bon samaritain, défense pour l'Amérique du Nord. Puis, en tant que philosophe, athlète, artiste, qui a l'Asperger puis la amnésie rétrograde, ben, qui n'est pas parfait loin de là, mais que je vous présente pour moi-même, pour moi, pour vous, pour nous. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, c'est pas juste pour moi-même. La malédiction de l'Asperger, ça fait que j'ai pu étudier puis créer cette théorie-là, qu'il faut faire l'implémentation. Ça commence dès aujourd'hui, c'est urgent. La TRD, la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Et bien sûr, aujourd'hui, je suis pas parfait loin de là, mais la théorie de la refusion de la dette, elle est parfaite, cette théorie. Ma TRD est parfaite. Il y a une perfection dans cette théorie-là. Donc, c'est quoi? Prendre toute la dette, ma dette de 10 en tant que citoyen privé, 10 500 $, ma dette, votre dette de côte à côte le Canada, des États-Unis, du Mexique, et tenez compte, je vais vous expliquer maintenant encore. la TRD, la théorie de la révision de la dette, inclut, donc ma TRD, ma théorie, inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire. C'est l'intégration monétaire, c'est qu'est-ce qu'ils ont fait en Europe. Les Allemands, ils ont laissé faire tomber le Deutschmark, les Français, ils ont laissé faire tomber le franc, les Italiens ont laissé faire le lira. Et plusieurs pays, ils ont adopté une unité d'échange commune. Ils ont même créé une banque centrale en Europe. Bien sûr, ils ont créé une banque centrale, la banque de l'Europe. Et ils ont créé une nouvelle banque centrale pour ces pays. Pour plusieurs pays se sont mis ensemble. Ils ont créé une banque centrale commune pour avoir une monnaie d'échange commune, l'euro. Euro. Ça fait des décennies déjà. Puis ils ont commencé après la Deuxième Guerre mondiale, tranquillement. Puis les années 90, ils ont fait de l'implémentation de la théorie d'intégration monétaire. Donc ma théorie, ça inclut la théorie d'intégration monétaire, mais avec cet extra surplus, si on veut dire, sur cette théorie, c'est qu'on va prendre par la dette publique et privée, toute la dette de tous les citoyens, pas juste la dette des citoyens privés, mais publique. Public. Bon, on va vendre toute la dette publique-privée. Puis ma TRD, théorie de la révision de la dette, ça inclut cette théorie d'intégration citoyenne. Puis ça inclut cette théorie d'intégration monétaire. Donc, on va créer une nouvelle monnaie, nous autres aussi. Donc, c'est quoi? Je vais vous l'expliquer maintenant simplement. Yeah. Prends toute la dette, ma dette en tant que citoyen, 10 500. Votre dette, ma dette publique, plus ma dette privée, plus la dette publique, votre dette privée aussi, toute la dette privée, les Canadiens côte à côte, tout ce chiffre-là, on va ramasser ensemble, ça va être des milliards. Et vu que le dollar américain est encore la devise de choix, numéro 1 dans le monde pour les échanges du monde, le commerce, les échanges financiers, le tourisme, on va convertir en dollars états-unis, toute la dette. Du Canada, du Mexique, Haïti, la Gourde, donc des pays nord-américains. Je parle pour le collectif de Civilisation nord-américaine, ou qu'est-ce que j'appelle la communauté intégrale nord-américaine. L'Amérique du Nord, dans le fond, mais constitue une civilisation, un complexe de civilisation. Je ne vais pas diverger dans cette théorie parce que c'est une de mes philosophies, mais qu'on constitue un complexe de civilisation. Et on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, ma dette, votre dette, notre dette, toute la dette de tous les Canadiens, on va ramasser ensemble, public-privé du Canada. Ce chiffre-là, on va le additionner, faire l'addition avec la dette des États-Unis, avec les pesos du Mexique, la dette peso mexicain, public-privé. On va ramasser ensemble, du Haïti, la Gourde, tous les pays de l'Amérique du Nord, s'ils veulent, sinon Canada, États-Unis, that's all, Rock&Roll. Et bien sûr, cet argent-là, toute la dette publique-privée, ça a fondé une nouvelle banque, comme qu'ils ont fait en Europe, pour faire une nouvelle monnaie basée sur le dollar des États-Unis. L'UI. U. Point, unité, E. Point, échange universel. U. Point, unité, E. Point, échange universel. U. Point, pour unité, E. Point, d'échange universel. Parce que c'est ça l'argent. Fait que tout l'argent de dette publique-privée, on va mettre pour créer cette nouvelle monnaie, l'UI. Et on va faire bien sûr la création de cette nouvelle monnaie. On va faire un gel de prix du beurre, du pain, des saucisses et d'autres biens. Standardisation pour lui, oui. On va bien sûr, cet argent-là, on va mettre un taux d'intérêt maximum de 10% après. Ça peut être 3,33, 1,56, 7,70, 7,18, 9,3. Donc, toute la dette publique-privée, on va ramasser ensemble. On va faire bien sûr ce partenariat public-privé. Puis on va bien sûr créer cette nouvelle monnaie d'échange, l'UI, biométrique. Que ça serait biométrique ou non, mais ça peut être d'une autre manière. On peut avoir le double, comme qu'on a maintenant digital, puis aussi avec la monnaie, puis comme ça existe maintenant, bien sûr, parce que ça existe, puis c'est des choses qu'il faut qu'on fasse, bien sûr. Fait que prendre toute la dette publique-privée, faire une refusion, toute la dette de tous les citoyens du Canada, faire une refusion publique-privée pour l'unité d'échange universelle, pour la création de l'unité d'échange universelle. Fait qu'une nouvelle banque. On va juste m'hydrater un peu parce que j'ai soif. Donc prendre toute la dette, ma dette, votre dette, la dette du Canada, des États-Unis, de l'Amérique du Nord, tout cet argent-là, c'est de la dette qui existe publique-privée, tout ce chiffre-là, on va le mettre ensemble, ça peut être dans des milliards, on va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10%. Ça peut être 7,70, 3,33, 1,56, 4,18. Toute la dette publique-privée, ça va être la nouvelle l'argent en circulation de cette nouvelle monnaie basée sur le dollar des États-Unis. Unité d'échange universelle. U.E.U. Unité d'échange universelle, on va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10% maximum. Et bien sûr, en mettant ce maximum de 10%, on va faire l'UI. On va créer, comme on fait en Europe, une nouvelle banque. Avec, et puis l'argent en circulation initiale, ça va être tout l'argent, la dette publique privée, ma dette, mon 10 500, converti en dollars des États-Unis, parce que le dollar des États-Unis, le dollar états-unien est encore la monnaie d'échange pour la finance du monde global, puis le commerce, puis l'échange du monde, puis bien sûr, tout ce qui est les transactions. Fait qu'on va créer, lui, unité d'échange universelle. On va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10%. Ça peut être 7,70, 3,33, 1,56, 4,18 et 7,18, en bas de 10. Par principe, il y aura en bas de 10. Ça va être en bas de 10, pas plus. Ça peut être moins, pas plus. C'est simple. On prend toute la dette publique privée. On va créer l'unité d'échange universelle. U.E.U. Puis ça peut être digital aussi. Ça peut être aussi comme qu'on a maintenant les deux. Digital, là, biométrique, l'œil, les yeux, la voix, puis la main, puis la voix, il y a un truc, mais c'est pour ça que je fais appel à mon frère Scorpion Bill Gates, frère Scorpion Bill, pour ce partenariat public-privé, pour la création de l'unité d'échange universelle. Maintenant, je vais m'hydrater parce que j'ai soif. Ça, c'est la solution, il n'y a pas d'autre solution. Ah. Fait que maintenant, je vais juste me laver les mains parce que j'ai touché à des choses. Fait que. Anyways. Wow, regardez la lune, man. La lune. On s'en va vers la lune. Et bien sûr, je vous encourage à faire l'entraînement physique. Puis, fait du bien. Puis, là, je sais pas, continuer. Puis, ça encourage les gens à faire l'entraînement physique. Puis, j'aime savoir du monde qui s'entraîne. Ici, vous pouvez voir faire de l'entraînement physique. Puis, là, ils s'entraînent. Fait que faites bien. Go. Salutations, encouragement. Quand vous voyez les gens font l'entraînement physique, vous faites bien, lâchez pas, puis continuez. J'étais sur une longue route d'entraînement physique, j'étais moi-même en dépression, j'ai perdu beaucoup de livres, plus que 77 livres, maintenant, j'ai perdu beaucoup, puis ça fait du bien, j'aime ça voir les gens qui s'entraînent ici, ils font du jogging, puis c'est super beau, la lune, puis super une belle place ici, puis c'est un grand privilège. Je dois remercier ceux qui ont bâti ici pour nous autres, là-bas. L'eau, je viens de boire, puis maintenant, je vais juste m'hydrater. Juste m'hydrater un peu, puis pas m'hydrater, mais me nettoyer les mains, parce que je viens bien sûr d'avoir fait... j'ai touché avec les mains, fait que... Je laver les mains un peu avec du désinfectant. Avec mon gel 10, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 6, 6, 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands are disinfected. Nice, man. People singing over there, and I'm going through the moon, and we got couples, and people in that drill. We got a spark plug, and we gotta get that drill, man. So grateful, thankful, rents paid, electricity bills paid. Got that DRT, only solution. La teoria de integration monétaire, and here we are. Had that 5G satellites. We need to build satellites, supercomputers, constellations, and teach me some of that Bill Gates, Elon Musk, always willing to learn a little bit, and always learning, always doing, always learning, always doing. There's another poem there. So it's full of poetry, man. Full of poems. Here is a children's park, and come safely, have enjoy. It's a big one, so you can have a lot of fun here. The children, see, it's a nice place. You have the bathrooms there. You can have barbecue, and see, that's putting on that barbecue. I want to paint the benches, though. I really, really want to paint the benches. They're so great. At least here in this area, I counted 44 the other day. So just give me the tools. Volunteer, permission, blah, blah. Sometimes that bureaucracy, So sometimes that bureaucracy. We got a little bit of red tape. We got bureaucracy, and red tape. So sometimes we just got to do, when you ain't no red tape to do push-ups. Ain't no red tape to do squats. Ain't no red tape to do hawks. Ain't no red tape to march. Hawk. Tu sais, comme je dis, des fois, c'est trop de paperasse puis trop de choses rouges, mais il n'y a pas de paperasse d'épée rouge pour faire l'entraînement physique, pour faire des pompes, de la danse puis la marche. Il n'y en a pas. Ça, tu peux en faire partout, east, west. Mais c'est pour ça qu'il faut faire une balance. You gotta get that harmony. It takes laws, bureaucracy a little bit. Sometimes it takes decades, but hey, sometimes you just gotta jump. Des fois, ça prend tous des décennies, mais des fois, il faut juste faire le saut puis le compromis, on compromise, We don't need that much bureaucracy. We need security and service. We need security and service. On a besoin de service, puis de sécurité, puis de service. Puis de sécurité, on a besoin du service. Puis de sécurité, on a besoin du service. Puis de sécurité, on a besoin du service. Et de sécurité, on a besoin du service. On a besoin de service puis de sécurité. Gotta get that workout, It's XYZ, il faut faire l'entraînement physique, so it's super important, Super important. You got basically, I got selfish some, but I'm not totally selfish. I'm not totally egoless. I'm not totally altruistic. I try to stay in the balance. Moi aussi, j'ai du ego. Je suis pas totalement égoïste, mais je suis pas totalement pour l'autrui, altruiste non plus. J'essaie d'être balancé dans le milieu pour moi-même, pour les autres aussi, for me and for others. I'm financially struggling, stressed. That's the only stress I really got at the moment. Maintenant, c'est le seul stress que j'ai maintenant, c'est les finances. À part ça, ça va. La santé mentale, je m'entraîne. Mental health, I work out. Geopolitics, I know inside out. La géopolitique, je la connais par 24 sur 24. Le sport, la danse, rock&roll. Dancing and rock&roll. Civilizational studies. I got my thesis presented. The privilege of civilization. Civilization is a privilege. J'ai ma thèse, le privilège de la civilisation. So. This is my second home, ça c'est ma deuxième maison. This is my second home. The full moon, la lune pleine. So. That's what it is, man. Sometimes we gotta go a little bit crazy des fois, mais il faut qu'on laisse faire un peu, tu sais. Il faut qu'on laisse faire. Sometimes we just gotta let loose, man. Sometimes we just gotta let loose. Des fois, il faut qu'on se laisse aller un peu, Gotta let loose a little bit sometimes, just not take ourselves too seriously. And I gotta say now, because it's the topic at hand, but I predicted what's happening now geopolitically. I predicted it back in 2019. So I'm gonna go back in time a little bit because that far back I remember. It's just I really don't know, and I really don't know. What I know, I'm happy now today. Je sais que je suis content aujourd'hui. Financially stressed, en stress financier, mais je suis quand même content, joyeux, joyous, joyeux, joyous, joyeux, joyous, joyeux, joyous. I know a little bit about nothing. In the parallel life, I know a lot about satellites, microchips, computer science. I'm an ASPI super scientist in the parallel life. Dans une vie parallèle, ben, je suis un ASPI aussi, j'ai l'Asperger's aussi, mais je suis un super scientifique qui construit des satellites, des microchips, des super ordinateurs, tout ce qui a à faire avec la science, télécommunication. 24/7 science, science, science in that parallel life. Dans l'autre vie, c'est science, 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 24/24. In this life is rock and roll, philosophy, geopolitics, dancing, sports, 24/7. Dans cette vie, 24/24, le sport, l'entraînement physique, le rock and roll, a little bit of rap, sometimes un peu de rap aussi. So, I gotta get my hair, gotta tie my hair and go rock and roll, man. Gotta tie my hair. From fruit. For a good workout. Good workout. I feel good, you know. And now I have to head back, so I still got about 8 kilometers. J'ai encore 8 kilomètres. Still about an hour, 20 minutes to go, an hour 15, whatever. Encore une heure et 15 minutes, maybe an hour and a half, depending how we drill it. So I'm just gonna head it back now, and just gonna blow my nose, and that's about it. Where we go with that. I'm getting a bit hungry. And yes, this blow my nose with it, but I'm gonna put it in the garbage. Dans mon nez, mais je vais mettre ça dans le vidange. Gotta put it in the garbage, man. Don't throw it. I don't want to swallow a squirrel swallowing my snots. Faut pas d'écureuil qui mange mes mange mes microbes, tu sais. So anyways, grateful, thankful, and now I'm gonna discuss my scenario. My scenario. Whoa! It's okay, I didn't get any. That is strong. That's a lot of strength. No worry. Just made me think in a rock and roll song. In just one I make because I write rock and roll songs, so I just got inspired by that. I would see it in a video, by take care. Yeah, a little bit funny. It would be funny in a video, eh? Yeah, man. Anyways, it was a dog. It kind of sprayed a little bit. It was strong. I just put dirt, so it didn't touch me. Really, didn't touch me. Did not touch me. Il y avait un chien, Citoyen, avec le chien, puis le chien a ramassé comme 3 fois de la poussière, mais ça m'a pas touché. Ça m'a pas touché pantoute, fait que il n'y a pas de problème là-dessus. Mais anyways, going back west, west, west. On s'en va vers l'ouest maintenant. Back west, west. Going west, so from here to my place is about 8 kilometers. D'ici jusqu'à chez nous, la route que je vais prendre, c'est à peu près 8 kilomètres. About. À peu près. So I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna cross the street and then I'm gonna discuss it because there's a little bit of noise here. So I don't want any noise interference because the following, which I'm gonna discuss, is really serious. And je vais attendre jusqu'à traverser un peu plus loin parce qu'ici il y a du bruit à cause des voitures. Parce que qu'est-ce que je vais en parler maintenant? C'est vraiment sérieux. Fait que c'est des choses sérieuses parce que la géopolitique, c'est quand même des choses sérieuses et serious. Même si je fais de la comédie, je suis un 7e comédien, moi aussi. Although I do comedy, I'm 1/7 of a comedian. Hey, 44, that's too much. 44, too much, 44. Je regarde, I'm doing reference because we have, we have speed indicators. So the speed indicators, they indicate how much speed we go, how much speed the cars go. Les indicateurs, ben, ça montre bien sûr combien que ça va vite. Et des fois, ça va super vite. Et des fois, bien sûr, ça va super vite à 44. Fait que 44, c'est déjà rouge. On va aller voir plus loin. We're gonna see them further above. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. The speed indicators, and it turns red when it's too fast. Ça tourne rouge quand c'est trop vite. Puis il y en a trois qui suivent, qui s'en vont plus là. There's 3 there that are there, of course, that are, of course, there. So, anyways, going back to my Dragon's Lair now. Let's see how much we did. Probably did more than 3 hours, so it's gonna be more like 4 hours. It's 8:14 already, so we're gonna go. It's gonna turn dark, so I don't know. The camera's not gonna be there. Yeah, 3:16. 3 hours and 60 minutes. Turn my head left to right before we cross the street, so 3:16. I'm just gonna take a picture of that moon, man. Anyways, if I know somebody who should live in a house here on D. Ramsey, it is my anonymous sister friend, and a house here on the boulevard. So now we're gonna discuss. Maybe I should take a little picture of myself too. Pictures for the Facebook social media. Anyway, so I'm gonna discuss my scenario, my scenario. So gonna go back in time. So back in 2019, in October 2019 to be precise. I'm an independent geopolitical analyst and theorist, as an ASPE. These are my obsessions, geopolitics. Back in 2019, I had made an in-depth analysis. It started in September, but it really coalesced in October, But it started earlier. It started like in September. So back in September, I did a geopolitical analysis, and of course, back then was an in-depth one. And I took into consideration several points, such as the newly emerging U.S.-China trade war, which began in 2018, March 2018, with the Trump administration imposing tariffs. But that was one of the major events, geopolitical events, because that is a geopolitical event, and was and still is ongoing, of major importance, which kind of began. So that event kind of began the deterioration of U.S.-Chinese relations with that imposition of tariffs on imported goods to be specific, and a tit-for-tat measure. And of course, it's ongoing now. It's ongoing. So back then, I already kind of foresaw, or I took that into consideration, Middle Eastern situation and the Ukraine situation and Crimea and all the geopolitical events up to that point in time, October 2019. And paradoxically, as a world peace advocate who has aggression but channels it, I sublimate it as well, just like sexuality as well, sublimate and channel. 2 keywords of my philosophies is, of course, I concluded back in 2019, I concluded that humanity is against Cette. Humanity is against Cette towards an international conflagration, in other words, a World War III, So, in other words, a World War III, a international conflagration. So that was my conclusion back in October 2019, and that was based on my analysis. My analysis, my analysis, my analysis. So back then, I concluded it and have made in consequence a workout training program system designed to go hand in hand with such a scenario, designed to go hand in hand with such a scenario, designed to go hand in hand with such a scenario. In other words, a World War III scenario, because I had already begun my fitness journey. And I was on my fitness journey since I was already in it for about 2 years. See, they're going at 46. 46 first. That's what I was talking about earlier when I said 44, 44, it's red, red, red. So back then I already started predicting the situation, and paradoxically it's happening now and has been happening with the COVID since the Russia-Ukraine crises, and the current Middle East, Israel-Hamas situation, and the current geopolitical situation, and a little bit of the Central South America situation, and of course the potential, because now I'm going back home, maybe I see on the TV People's Liberation Army of the People's Republic of China has invaded Taiwan, which is known officially as the Republic of China. So that dates back to their civil war era. Mao's victory, right, over the China. Mao's victory. Mao Zedong is the founder of the... Mao is the founder, right? Mao is the founder of... Mao is the founder of China, of the People's Republic of China. So this is gonna be about geopolitics now, right? So until the end of the video, it's just gonna be focused on geopolitics because I'm an independent geopolitical thinker and analyst. But it's not necessarily, keep in mind that it's not necessarily that I keep a position outside of non-NATO aligned countries and non-NATO members and non-NORAD, or even I go a bit more for the North American collective civilization, or what I call the North American civilizational complex, because fundamentally I'm a North American, I'm a Quebecer Canadian North American as much as I am for world peace. Fundamentally all I really know is fundamentally in essence all I really know is Montreal Island. Although I'm educated and have spent many years one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, and I spent many years one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries, one foot in the streets, one foot in the libraries. Read tens of thousands of books on philosophy, poetry, art, and written tens of thousands of pages on philosophy, art, and science. So written and read, many years of suffering, struggle, got out of depression, blah, blah, blah. So got out of depression, suicidal. So back then, I've concluded in 2019 that humanity is again set towards a course or a path towards an international conflagration. In other words, a World War III. So And it's happening now in many ways. Not exactly, but in parallel, in a parallel manner, the geopolitical situation, in a general manner, is how I predicted it in many ways. Not the same exactly, but that's what I predicted back in 2019 in October. And then I got hit by COVID and I almost died, and I'm being reborn. Nothing that I want to go back to, and just living and with hope, with hope. I live for carpe diem every day, but I got hope. I got hope, you know. So I live that rock and roll and philosophy. But anyways, now what's happening geopolitically? What if I get back home and I see that the PLA, People's Liberation Army, PLA, the People's Liberation Army, which is the army of the People's Republic of China, right? People's Republic of China, People's Republic of China, has invaded Taiwan, which is officially called the Republic of China, right? So that can't be. That can't be. It's possible. I open the news, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news. It's possible. It's stated officially. And whatever I say, I gotta keep in mind that as much as geopolitical analysis that I do, keep in mind that I am fundamentally, and I am a North American, Canadian, Quebecer. For world peace, I can be universal. I can be universal. I can be open-hearted, universal for a world citizen. But fundamentally, I am a North American, Canadian, Quebecer. Montreal is really all I know, and here's where we are. You know, here's where we are, and here's why we get the drill. You know, so. Here's where we are, man. And here's where will my dream to come forth for the North American collective civilization, the North American civilizational complex, or the complex of North America. So here we are at an impasse, and we have been in an impasse, but there might be some solutions, at least for North American civilizational complex or the North American community, and for world peace. But nonetheless, where we are heading now, it's far from there. Oh, I'm hopeful, but it is what it is, right? So back then, as I set the point for the Concordium, you know, Concordiums, that's what I predicted back then. Predicted and have analyzed different points, but mainly the geopolitical situation between the major powers, the newly emerging alliances, the U.S.-China trade war, the ongoing Middle Eastern situation, and you know, all those unresolved conflicts, and part of it Ukraine and Russia, which has escalated, and now it's an invasion, the war, you know, just like in the Middle East, Israel, Hamas. I forgot I had a bottle in it. So, gotta not leave any for the dogs. You know, I forgot I had a bottle. I wanted to. I'm gonna put it at the next one, so I don't want to leave any that it can damage the. That it can damage the. It can damage there, so I'm just gonna keep it and throw it away later. The first one, the first garbage that I saw, I totally forgot. I picked every broken glass. It just broke a little bit of it with XYZ, so. Anyways, I think I picked pretty much all the glass that I could see because it's dark, but I picked it with my hand. Maybe I cut myself. Anyways, I totally forgot I had it. I was supposed to put it in the recycling, which I will, but anyways, back to geopolitics. But maybe that's an omen. That's an omen. That's an omen that China People's Republic of China invade Taiwan? Did the People's Republic of China invade Taiwan? Did the People's Republic of China invade the Republic of China? See here, Taiwan is officially named Republic of China. While China, mainland China, the big populated country, is officially named People's Republic of China. See that distinction? And of course, Mao Zedong established it. But nonetheless, of course, that's a major point where things can escalate. And maybe I get home and that's breaking news, and that's what's happening maybe as I get back home, as I'm going now on the marching west. So that's a possible, another escalation. But suffice it to say that my prediction has went parallel to what's happening now in a general manner. Not in a detailed manner, but in a general manner. Not in a detailed manner, but in a general manner. So not in a detailed manner, but in a general manner. Right? So not in a detailed manner, but in a general manner. So that's what it was. That's what it was. That's what it is, So you gotta get it for the X and get it for the Y, So like I said, not in a detailed manner, but in a general manner. So yours truly, as it is now, looking at that full moon, and it's gonna get close tomorrow, and analyzing, and gotta go throw that in the recycling because I'm gonna double check if I'm not myself. I think so in a general manner, the things are unfolding according to my prediction. Not in a detailed manner, meaning of course that my analysis concluded that we are on an international conflagration, that we are on an international conflagration, that we are on we're heading toward an international, where's the recycling, there it is, so that we're heading, I'm gonna check my hands, tiny hands, put on those gloves and got a little bit of hydration here, but nonetheless in a general manner have predicted what's happening now. Of course, I've predicted what's happening now, have predicted what's unfolding now, and was able to predict what is transpiring at the moment. So what is transpiring at the moment. So I'm just gonna hydrate a bit. So we got here a hydration and continue the march back home. Continue la marche. Thank you, public workers, for that aqueducts, and of course I'm able to drink clean water. Actually tasted very good. Actually tasted very good. So now I'm marching back. I'm gonna continue discussing the geopolitics. So like I said, it is possible that When I get back, I look on the TV and I see, well, China, People's Republic of China, People's Liberation Army of the People's Republic of China has invaded Taiwan, has invaded Taiwan. It's possible. It's still part of their official policy, the reunification, right? Now, again, as much as an analysis and whether I take a position left, right, or center, or pro or X, that's not irrelevant. Because my positions are mainly my theories, my dream, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, where all my allies and armies pledge your allegiance to our family. For the public-private partnership, the PPP across the collective North American civilization, and NATO NORAD. NATO NORAD, right? Civilization is a privilege, right? Civilization is a privilege. Civilization, it is a privilege, right? We got the privilege of civilization, which was my thesis as the People's Doctor made right back in 2023 when I presented it in oral communication, by oral communication, basically when I presented it to the world in my live, Facebook live stream, and of course on the online, on the computers, YouTube as a YouTuber. Turn my head left and right before I cross the street. So, again, don't think of it necessarily as what position I take, because my positions are for the creation of the Dragon Army, North American Citizen Integrated, NORAD, NATO, Public Partnership, Dancing Goddess Army, DGA, North American Integrated Dance League, Public Private Partnership. That is fundamentally what I am advocating, calling for, and for all to support via public-private partnership. That is, of course, my position and what I stand for. And of course, I am for world peace advocate, but sometimes you gotta get that defense, and you got some conflicts which there has to be if you will, like a resolution or a compromise, or if that is possible, because sometimes I guess there's not a possibility in certain cases. But I don't know. So many things I don't know. I know Quebec, Canada, North America. I know many past lives. I'm an ass. You got that Asperger's, and I know my geopolitics. So back to geopolitics, more from as a North American, but do not say necessarily what position I take, right? Just what position I take, or whatever the case may be. Just maybe as an independent, neutral, great geopolitical analyst and theorist. Because regardless what I say, that doesn't change that the official policy of the People's Republic of China, who's got that PLA, People's Liberation Army, that their position is the reunification with the Taiwan, which is called Republic of China. Anyways, so regardless of that fact, it's possible, like I said, now I see a new news. I'm going to have to analyze that. So I do analysis of geopolitics and 24/7, and the study of civilizations, and of course, geopolitical analysis is my thing, Geopolitics, geopolitical analysis. Not just analysis, but theory as well. Or predictions. In my case, I predicted an international conflagration back in 2019. And it's happening. And paradox, I also created a workout training program system to go hand in hand with it, which is simple, effective, and efficient, and which, of course, have myself perform more than performed and done more than hundreds of that same workout. Training program system. Of that workout training program system. It's legal. You won't believe what I found. I just wanted to take it for recycling because I was afraid it was gonna fall in the here and go down and pollute, but I think it's even unopened, man. I found an unopened duty paid. It's legal, 18 plus. Because I thought it was gonna go in the sewer. See, there's a sewer there. There's a sewer. So I picked it up. I said it was gonna go pollute. I thought it was whatever meds or whatever, which has to be properly disposed. I said I'm gonna put it in garbage, or I didn't know what it was. I saw some plastic, so I didn't know what it was. But I found. I got 12.6, but I found legal pearls. I never had this because I don't smoke. I don't buy cannabis, although I still have like six joints, or maybe less, maybe 7. I don't know, 5, 3.5, whatever. But I found. I'm gonna have to clean it. I'm gonna actually disinfect it soon. I'm gonna disinfect it ASAP. But it's unopened. Wow. See, it has the, what is it? So it's THC gummies. I just want to go online to see how much it costs, but I found it. Oh yeah, it's sealed, man. It's sealed. It's unopened. See, Canada, and it's legal. Canada. Wow. Just found pearls. They're called sour apple THC. 5 gummies. 5 gummies, man. I never had gummies. I never had. So it's gonna be a first, you know. Gonna be a first for yours truly, having probably over the weekend or something, and full moon is feast. And anyways, it's legal, so this is a legal product, so you can purchase this legal legally. So there's no problem with that, but I will disinfect it because I don't know who touched it, who lost their hands, and no meaning for no disrespect, but just gonna disinfect it with my hand sanitizer. So, and now I'm gonna continue to discuss geopolitics because I'm a geopolitical analyst and theorist. So that's one of my obsessions as an ASPE. I got those obsessions and interests, and you know, I predicted geopolitics. I did predict the geopolitical situation that is unfolding now. Anyways, I just want to show it one more time. I found pearls. They're called 5 gummies. You have to be 18 plus. But I'm curious how much they cost, so I'm gonna go online. I hope I don't forget them in the pocket, because I'm not a. It's cannabis and cannabis-based products are legal in Canada, coast to coast, right? We legalized it back in 2019, a few years already. So, but I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. I like to drink wine, red wine, and I smoked during COVID a bit. I still have. I had them for like, it's been years now. I don't know if they're still good, probably, because they're in the seal. So I still have actually cannabis. I just don't smoke myself. I do not consume it. Maybe with THC. Maybe I'll smoke one over the week. Can do a video, do some rock and roll, but I do not. Under the regular, I do not. I prefer working out and good food, good sweets. That's my drug, is chocolate and wafers, and I could use a good massage therapy session, you know, one of those good massages I could use. But anyhow, that massage is XYZ aside, and I'm gonna get back to real geopolitics. So real geopolitics is that regardless what I say, my protocols is not gonna change. The Xi Jinping, the chairman of the People's Republic of China, of the Chinese Communist Party, of the PLA, People's Liberation Army, is not going to change his position of reunification with Taiwan. So that, regardless of that. Now, I always said that in matters of non-North American aligned, non-NATO country aligned domestic or intra-domestic affairs, such as, for example, that in certain cases the involvement of military or military aid, I always say that as a leader, president, of course, I would have to require a certain referendum, to vote, a popular vote on the matter. That's one of my principles, on the matter, such as, for example, if China does invade Taiwan, as president of Canada, I will, or the North American Democratic Republic, or the North American Democratic Republic, or the North American Democratic Republic, I would, of course, have a popular vote to vote on the matter. To vote on the matter, 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 vote, Should we intervene, then what, X, Y, Z? That's one of my principles, So back to real geopolitics. It's possible that by the time I get back to my headquarters, that this geopolitical reality, keep in mind there's time zones, so China now, Japan, Korea, South Korea, they're getting their they're getting their mornings, right? So it's not night there. It's like Berlin and Cairo and Moscow also got +7, 7 +6, and 7, 6, 6, 6, and +6 and +7. I think Berlin is +6 and Moscow's +7 and something like that. So we got time zones. So they're in early in the morning or night, right? It's 8:45, so +6 would be close to 3 o'clock, right? 15 minutes to 3 o'clock in Berlin in the morning, 3 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 a.m. But in Asia, Japan, South Korea, and China, they're early in the morning, and Australia as well, like 12, 13 hours. So it's like 7 a.m. in Beijing, Shanghai, or 8 or 9, something like that, in the morning. The sun is rising there as it sets here, right? It set here. So sun is always rising and always setting. At every second, somewhere in the world, the sun is always setting and rising. My Bob the King of Sun, man. So real geopolitics makes, of course, that there could be an escalation as well. For all we know, it could be that Iran, it could be. They have their relationship with Iraq, with Syria. It could be, that they send armies towards Israel. It could be that they send armies towards Israel. It could be that the fortification of Iran-Russia-China axis, Russia-Iran-China axis, a new axis is formed. I know that the bilateral relations in the past years, and just last year, Putin and China signed new deals, so they're kind of betting on each other's backs there, so there has been that whether we like it or not, or whatever position I take, and my position, the North American Civilizational Complex, Island of Montreal, Canada, Quebec, Canada, North America, World Peace, NATO, NORAD, NATO, but it seems that we're going towards fragmentation of globalization, so say it's that just finished in the past years with Russia's Ukraine invasion. Now we're seeing regional formations of geopolitical regions based on common interests and values, and not necessarily common civilizational social values, but sometimes just more pragmatic ones, right? Sometimes more sometimes more pragmatic ones, but nonetheless has been in the past years, especially during COVID and after Russia invaded Ukraine, potentially China's invasion of Taiwan imminent, could happen now. As could be that Iran also decides to strike Israel, right? It could be. So those are possibilities of escalations of a regional war in the Middle East, It's possible. It's possible. I predicted what's happening now, and I predicted an international conflagration and between nation states, but also more geopolitical regions. Also regions, mostly Middle East, Europe, and of course Asia. Asia, and with of course North America, Canada, U.S. involved at different levels with the aforementioned. So geopolitics is ever kind of fluctuating. There's a fluctuality. So the fluctuating matters is like a flux. But that flux can also be based on common denominators or new emergent realities, such as, of course, technologies or the discovery of resources. But this was more the case in the past. But now it would be kind of uranium or alkaline or the new ones for the smartphones or whatever have you. So it could be resource based, it could be, like I said, cultural, social, and even religious, right? Religious. Myself as a mystic of my own rock and roll spirituality, it's not something that, more for freedom and the progress, the spiritual, social, cultural, and the progress of North America myself as well as humanity as a whole, but nonetheless, see, it starts a little bit with these public workers here. You can't really see, but what I see is, of course, lots of steel, lots of concrete, and they're gonna change those sewers, those aqueducts. So it takes a little bit of brain and muscle. It's not that well visible in the camera, but here you got some machines, and see here and there. You see where they're gonna change the sewers, because civilization is a privilege. So see a lot of metal, a lot of steel, and a lot of work here to be done. And with my DRT theory, we're gonna be able to do a lot of infrastructure renewal. Right? We're gonna be able to do a lot of infrastructure renewal. The North American Infrastructure Renewal Act, right here. We're gonna be able to do it. We're gonna be able to do it. See? Work, man. Saluting. Public workers, it takes brains and muscles. So we need the North American Rehabilitation Act, North American Infrastructure Rehabilitation Act. Gotta salute those truckers, and back to geopolitics. So again, not necessarily that I'm taking a point or a position. More as an analyst and theoretician or theorist, geopolitical analysis, I do, and geopolitical theorizing. So I'm both an analyst and a theorist. What is in theory? The theory of geopolitics. I mean, there's so much to it, right? It's a whole universe. And not necessarily that I'm taking the position on X, Y, Z, because like I said, regardless of whether I say X, Y, Z, right? I can say go Ukraine, go Ukraine, go Ukraine. It doesn't change the fact how Putin, the Russian armed forces, and the Putin's regime, right? Putin's regime, how he explained and they're explaining, and they see the invasion of Ukraine with the objective to demilitarize and denazify. As much as I could say it's such an aberration, such as casus belli, such as outrage, that's not going to change the fact that to the geopolitical realities. That is the biggest war, biggest conflict in Europe in more than 77 years, since 1947. Biggest conflict in Europe in more than 77 years. Biggest conflict in Europe in more than 77 years. That's not going to change. But as a geopolitical analyst and theorist, as a philosopher, from Putin's dialogue and diatribes and communications, I analyzed the motives or the purported motives, because sometimes there's more motives and more reasons which are not revealed, but they're hidden, just like sometimes of our intentions. We have jealousies, resentments, right? Things which we are resentful of, and of course whatever resentments we might carry, resentments, and of course whatever it is, resentments and stuff like that, you know. So it is crossing the street safely, but whatever that is not gonna analyze. But one thing I gotta say is, of course, that for Ukraine as well as the president of Canada, I would have, as a president of or the Democratic Republic of North America or whatever have you, I would have called, of course, also for a vote, a popular vote, whether to send arms, military equipment, or military supplies, like non-humanitarian military aid, in other words, whether financial or guns or whatever, tanks and arms. But I had to do a referendum whether we get involved militarily, because also as a geopolitical analyst and theorist, I gotta say the fact that, of course, Ukraine is not part of NATO, right? Ukraine is not part of NATO. Ukraine is not part of the NATO alliance, which now includes Sweden, 32 countries. Who's going to be the 33rd? Who's going to be the 33rd? Who's going to be the 33rd? Right? Who's going to be the 33rd? Listen, I don't know. Who's going to be 33rd if there's going to be a 33rd? But now there's 32. Sweden was just admitted. Sweden, the newest is Sweden, right? NATO member country, the newest. You got many, and it expanded, and that was one of the motive, which Putin said to be because of his invasion, because of NATO's encroachment. And I analyzed his speech just before the invasion, a day before the invasion, as he mentioned NATO's encroachment, and in others of his speeches he mentioned. So, like I said, not necessarily that I take a position, because I can, but like I told you, the position which I would have done as the president of Canada, of the North American Democratic Republic of North America, or the Democratic Republic of North America, or, you know, because the Americas, we got North, Central, South. So when we say America, it includes North, South, Central, several states, and it could be a North American Union or Democratic Republic. But I would have done a popular vote also. You know, it's a vote. I know that sometimes it takes time to take a vote, but if we could envision such a system in the future, can we? I wonder how many of Canadians said better to not send military aid. Now I'm talking about the referendum would have had 3 questions, or simple, you know. Are you willing to, Canada first, to send military aid? Yes or no? Are you willing to send humanitarian aid? Are you willing to do other aid? Specify like that. That'll be a vote question. That's it. You know, I wonder how many, if it would have been a majority who would have said get involved militarily. I'm speculating now, or not get involved militarily in Canada, U.S. I wonder. You know, you wonder these things. You meditate. If a vote would have been carried out, what would have been the percentile to get involved with all conflicts, whether financial aid, military aid, or humanitarian aid? I wonder how many people would have been I'm referring to the percentage. How many would have been willing to send military aid as Canadians? I'm speaking about Canada, because I'm Canadian, Quebecer, North American, you know. How many would have said, how much in percentage, of course? 50%, 40%, 60%? I'm not sure. I can speculate. I can say, well, I think most Canadians would have wanted to get involved, but I could be way off. Maybe it would have been just 25% of Canadians if we would have held a vote. Maybe it would have been more, 75%. 50% for yes to send military aid. Maybe it would have been 25 to send military aid, maybe 75 just humanitarian aid without getting involved militarily, right? Because getting involved militarily means that we are making ourselves potential an enemy of an armed forces and of the armed forces and of that regime, right? That regime. That's what it entailed, right? That's what it entailed. So, but whatever. I wonder if we would have held a vote, you know? If we would have voted, how many would have said yes? How many would have said no? Don't get involved, don't get involved. Or get involved. 25%, 40%, 50%, 60%, 70%. How many would have said go for it, send military aid? And how many would have said just financial aid or just humanitarian aid and the such? Or just the such, whatever the case may be. Whatever the case may be. Right? Been a full moon, man. Right, so whatever the case may be, whatever the case may be, how many would have said send military aid in terms of percentage? How many would have said send financial aid? How many would have said send humanitarian aid? If the referendum or the vote, like a popular vote, would have been done and carried out, you know? I wonder how much, how many, you know? It's something with, in terms of percentage, you know? 50%, 70%. Because I mean, well, okay, 18 plus, so 40 million, not 40 million, all of the 40 million Canadians, but if it would have been a coast-to-coast vote in a week, how would have been the percentage? I don't know. I'm curious. I'm actually curious. If you made it this far in the video, how many do you think? You know? I'm not sure. Maybe a majority, 51 plus. Maybe far from it. Having a feeling is at this point is doesn't say much because having a feeling or an opinion is going to be speculative anyways. I'm going to speculate. But how many Canadians would have voted in favor of military involvement, direct military aid, which we had taken, our government, not us, because we didn't vote on it, our path towards that? How many would have willingly, of the citizens, how many would have willingly wanted that? It's an open question, eh? Well, that's the foreign. It's a type of presidential democracy or president where there's authoritarian executive power, but there's also in certain matters where referendums are called for. Where referendums are called for. Referendums are called for. Where referendums are called for. Referendums are where referendums are called for, such as the case was, you know, such as the case was. In that case, in this case, what would have been it? What would have been it? Would have been an X, would have been a Y, would have been a Z. What would have been the outcome of such a vote? Now, this is one of the things which, of course, I ponder, I meditate on, and of course, which, if you put it to a popular vote, that means that. But I think that's one my position, to be clear. Like, if I had to choose the position, I would have to, as president of the North American Democratic Republic, and whatever the case may be, Canada. And, in such matters, I would have had to have a popular vote, you know, because we're dealing with involvement in military affairs, you know, involved in conflicts, foreign domestic. It's not the same thing. It's not domestic. It's foreign.